Chapter 483. Big Event, Big Event. A group of people came from the outside and walked into the tea house. When they saw Sun Hao and the others, they immediately closed their mouths and stopped talking. Their eyes swept over the six-eared macaque in turn, showing a strong look of fear. "What's going on? Let's go, don't be stunned." Behind them, people who didn't know the truth squeezed forward, and after seeing the scene in front of them, they were also stunned. Less than a moment later, the entire tea house was crowded with people. But no one sat down, they all stood there, looking nervous. The next second, these people's eyes widened, and their faces were full of shock. They saw. Wow! Sun Hao picked up the teapot and poured a cup of tea for Qiansu. Inside the tea, the seven-colored divine essence kept flowing. A tea fragrance spread around, and after pouring into the nasal cavity, it made people feel comfortable all over. A sense of hunger surged all over his body. Many people swallowed their saliva, showing a longing expression. This is enlightenment divine tea, my God. This kind of top-grade divine medicine, just take it out like this, aren't you afraid that we will rob it? Rob? You try to rob one. You didn't see it just now, the man sitting on the left of the young master, killing people without mercy. I suspect that his strength is at least in the realm of superior God. What? Superior God? My God. Isn't that the same realm as Zhongyan? Zhongyan? He is already dead. Whispered discussions kept ringing. For these, Sun Hao and the others didn't seem to hear. He poured a cup of tea for each person in turn. Come on, drink. Thank you, young master. Everyone picked up the teacup and took a sip. A wave of divine essence power rushed in the meridians, quickly strengthening their physical bodies. After a cup of tea, everyone's face was filled with uncontrollable surprise. Unexpectedly, my old son's immortal golden body has recovered another realm. My current physical body is at least the 5th grade divine king realm. I have mastered a kind of law. Although I can't use it here, I can definitely use it when I get out of here. Everyone was full of gains. Looking at Sun Hao's eyes, in addition to worship, there was gratitude. It can be considered a kind of fate for everyone to meet together. How about we go together in the next road? Sun Hao asked. Young master, no problem. Except for Han Xing, everyone else nodded. The crowd fixed their gaze onto Han Xing with a questioning look. Young master, I still have some matters to attend to. I need to leave for a while. Han Xing said. Small matter? What small matter? Is there anything more important than being by young master's side? Tell me. Qiansu said. Boss, this is really a small matter. It's not worth mentioning at all. I think it's better if we don't talk about it. Han Xing said. You're so fussy. That's not like you at all. Qiansu said with an annoyed expression. Tell us, maybe we can help. Sun Hao said. Young master, when I was dueling with someone, I promised a friend that I would tell the news of his death to his daughter. Han Xing said. Where? Sun Hao asked. Young master, in Azura City. That person's daughter is a maid in Hashin Mansion. Han Xing said. Azura City? Sun Hao frowned slightly. Is Azura City the territory of Azura sect? Indeed. Han Xing nodded. In that case, let's go to Azura City on the way. Speaking of this, Sun Hao's face showed a touch of anger. This Azura sect preys on all living beings. There is no need to stay in this world at all. As soon as these words came out, a group of cultivators in the tea house was stunned in place, their faces shocked. He said he wants to destroy Azura sect? In the entire Shadow Realm, except for the Rakshasa Punch, only this young master dares to say this, right? If this is heard by Azura sect, how can he live? Hey, they underestimate Azura sect too much. If they dare to say this, they will definitely suffer a big loss. Everyone looked at Sun Hao, showing a look of pity for him. Sun Hao turned a deaf ear to everyone's discussion. He talked and laughed, appearing very calm. Miss Qian Su, you have been here for so long, you must know where the most primordial qi is, right? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the most primordial qi is in the tomb of God. Qian Su said. Tomb of God? Where is it? Sun Hao asked. Young master, the tomb of God is located in the Jiuling region, which belongs to the territory of Haotian Palace. Qian Su said. Jiuling region? Haotian Palace? In that case, let's go and have a try. Sun Hao said. After saying this, there was dead silence all around. Everyone's expression was similar in surprise. Looking at Sun Hao, it was like looking at a fool. A moment later. What, they are going to the territory of Haotian Palace? Do they want to die? My God, in this world, there are such people who are not afraid of death. I heard that the strength of the Rakshasa punch is unfathomable, and no one can withstand his punch. Yes, the Rakshasa punch's means are extraordinary, and he is extremely repulsive to outsiders. No one is allowed to go in. In my opinion, the few of them will definitely give up their lives there. Exclamations kept sounding. They looked at Sun Hao as if they were looking at a terrifying monster. Sun Hao stood up, glanced at the teapot, and poured the remaining tea in it on the ground. Then, he put away all the tea set. Without further ado, let's get up now and go to Azura City first. After Sun Hao finished speaking, he stood up. Everyone stood up in turn and followed closely behind Sun Hao. The onlookers made way for them. The moment Sun Hao and the others left the tea house. Bang! Everyone stepped forward frantically and rushed straight to the tea that Sun Hao had poured out. Like a licking dog, they stuck out their tongues and licked the tea on the ground. The person who grabbed the tea immediately sat cross-legged in place, showing a look of closed eyes and cultivation. After a while, these people opened their eyes one after another, revealing uncontrollable surprise on their faces. I broke through, and I actually reached the realm of God. Such a drop of tea made me break through, it's really incredible. Several people clenched their fists excitedly, their faces full of excitement. The others who didn't grab the enlightenment divine tea all had a bitter look on their faces. Hey, I really want to slap myself a few times, why don't I move? If I can grab a drop of enlightenment divine tea, I will definitely break through too. Don't say it, I regret it. No wonder there are so many strong people around that young master, so that's how it is. This is a shocking good fortune. What are you still doing? Hurry up and follow up. Follow up? You still dare to rob? Rob? In front of that kind of existence, you dare to rob? We follow up, casually pick up some leftovers left by that existence, and we can break through. Such a good thing, you don't want to. As soon as these words came out, everyone's inner emotions were mobilized in an instant. Soon, someone moved and quickly walked out of the tea house. Someone took the lead, and someone followed. The people in the entire tea house all went in the direction where Sun Hao disappeared. Sun Hao's fame spread throughout Hell City. Everyone heard the news and quickly went to Azura City. Chapter 484. Azura City, Deity Ha's residence. A pale-faced, emaciated woman was carrying a tray as she hurriedly walked along the corridor. The woman's arm was covered with scars. It seemed that she had been bullied a lot. This person was none other than Azura King's daughter, Chunya. Bang! Chunya's footsteps were weak, and she accidentally fell to the ground. The boat in her hand shattered into pieces. This sound immediately attracted the housekeeper's attention. When the housekeeper saw this scene, his old face twitched in anger. Damn bitch, you smashed the master's favorite plate. Even if you die 10,000 times, you won't be able to atone for it. The housekeeper roared. Chunya prostrated on the ground, trembling. She kept kowtowing to the housekeeper. Housekeeper Chi, I didn't mean it. Please spare my life. Spare your life? You can't even handle such a small matter? How can I spare you? After saying that, the housekeeper waved the whip, aimed at Chunya, and heavily lashed down. Seeing this scene, Chunya's face turned pale, and she tightly covered her head with her hands. She closed her eyes and quietly felt the pain of being lashed by the whip until her flesh was lacerated. Bang! A crisp sound rang out. Chunya's body trembled. Ah! She subconsciously let out a scream. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no pain. Could it be that my arm was broken and I can't feel it? Or the housekeeper pitied me and didn't do it? Impossible! Chunya slowly opened her eyes and looked up. She couldn't help but widen her eyes in shock. Only to see, in front of her, an imposing figure stood there. He had blue hair and a strong body. In the man's hand was the whip that the housekeeper had lashed out. This person was none other than Han Xing. Let go. The housekeeper used all his strength but couldn't pull back the whip. His forehead was overflowing with fine beads of sweat. He looked at Han Xing with a face full of fear. Trying to kill a weak girl? You really have the heart to do it. Han Xing forcefully hit the housekeeper. The housekeeper's body flew out uncontrollably and fell in front of Han Xing. Han Xing grabbed the housekeeper's collar with one hand and punched the housekeeper's head with the other. Seeing this scene, the housekeeper's face changed greatly. "Milord, spare my life, I was also forced. If you kill me, you definitely won't be able to leave this place." "No." Bang! Han Xing's fist directly exploded the steward's head. The headless body of the housekeeper fell to the ground, motionless. Han Xing turned to look at Chunya and reached out his hand. "Are you all right?" His voice jolted Chunya awake. She looked at Han Xing with admiration on her face. "Thank you for saving my life." She did not dare to touch Han Xing's hand. "Come, let me give you a hand," Han Xing said. "Milord, I'm too dirty. I'm afraid I'll dirty you." Chunya struggled to stand up, but there was no strength in her body, and she fell to the ground again. "What do you mean by too dirty? Don't look down on yourself." Han Xing pulled Chunya up and hugged her, not letting her fall. "Your name is Chunya, right?" "Yes, sir." "How do you know my name?" Chunya asked. "Your father told me to come," Han Xing said. "Father?" Chunya was shocked at first, then she revealed a dispirited expression. "I don't have a father." Hearing this, Han Xing was stunned on the spot. This script was wrong. The Azura king missed his daughter so much. He did not expect that his daughter would say she didn't have a father. Could it be that there was a misunderstanding? "Why do you say that?" Han Xing asked. "Milord, you don't know, but I was sold here by my father since I was a child. I suffered countless hardships, and he will only use the divine essence stones that he sells to gamble. I'm afraid it's a miracle that he could live until now. Do you think I have a father?" Chunya sighed in a low voice. "So that's how it is." Han Xing nodded and patted Chunya's shoulder to comfort her. "Chunya, your father was indeed wrong. However, he has already died in the arena. Before he died, he told me to come to you and beg you to forgive him." Han Xing's words were like thunder in Chunya's ears. Tears flowed from her eyes. After a long time, she calmed down. "Milord, thank you for the news. What happened?" Chunya asked. Han Xing then explained the situation in the wrestling arena. After Chunya heard it, she did not speak for a long time. She looked at Han Xing and bowed. "Your Excellency, this little girl is unable to repay your kindness. How about I stay by your side and serve you?" "Serve?" Han Xing shook his head. "I'm a rough man. I'm not used to people serving me." "Milord, you want to leave me here?" Chunya asked. This, Han Xing was shocked. His expression kept changing. "If you leave me here, my life will be in danger. I beg you, take me away. I want to live. My fate has been controlled since I was born. I want to control my fate once. I beg you." Chunya knelt in front of Han Xing and kept kowtowing. Every word was spoken from the bottom of her heart, and her eyes were filled with tears. Han Xing sighed heavily when he heard this. "All right. From today onwards, you will follow me," Han Xing said. As soon as he said this, Chunya's eyes lit up. She tried to stand up several times, but her legs were weak. Here, eat this first. Han Xing took out an elixir and handed it to Chunya. Thank you, milord. Chunya took the elixir and put it into her mouth. The elixir melted in her mouth. Waves of warmth flowed through her body. Chunya's injuries healed at a visible speed. Her thin and weak body became well-proportioned. On her beautiful face, there was a trace of moving brilliance. Compared to her previous appearance, she was a completely different person. Han Xing looked at Chunya in a daze. His expression changed slightly. Although she's not as pretty as boss, she's still a beauty. What a beauty! Han Xing muttered to himself. He stared at Chunya motionlessly. Chunya looked at Han Xing's sharp eyes. She blushed and quickly lowered her head. "Milord! Milord!" Chunya called out to Han Xing a few times. He looked at Chunya with an embarrassed expression. "Chunya, I'm sorry," Han Xing said. "Milord, we must leave here as soon as possible. If we don't leave now, it will be too late," Chunya said. "All right, let's leave first." Han Xing nodded. He took Chunya and quickly walked out. However, they had only taken a few steps. Tap tap, a series of hurried footsteps could be heard. In the blink of an eye, Han Xing and Chunya were surrounded by a group of guards. "There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. There's no door to hell, but you barge in. Godha's residence is not a place you can barge in. Today, both of you will die here." Voices came from all directions. It was impossible to tell where they were coming from. Chunya's expression changed drastically when she saw this person. Chapter 485. Both of you stay here. A strong man with a pockmarked face walked forward and said coldly, "Commander Zhu?" Chunya looked at this pockmarked man, her face changed greatly. After hesitating, she stepped forward and stood in front of Han Xing. "Commander Zhu, everything is my fault, it has nothing to do with this lord. If you want to kill, just kill me, please let the lord go." Chunya stretched out her hands and stood in front of Han Xing. "Let go?" Pockmarked smiled coldly. His face was ferocious, which made people's hearts tremble. "Who do you think you are? You killed Butler Chi, you too must die." Cold killing intent surged from pockmarked man's body. Hearing this, Chunya's face changed greatly. She turned around and looked at Han Xing with an apologetic face. "Lord, I'm sorry, I implicated you." "It's not implicated." Han Xing smiled slightly and patted Chunya's shoulder. He is Commander Zhu. His strength has reached the superior god level. Hurry up and find a chance to get out of here. You don't have to worry about me." Chunya looked at Han Xing and revealed a gratified smile. "Lord, you are the first one to help me. Chunya is satisfied in this life." After saying that, Chunya stepped forward and went straight to pockmarked man. However, before she took a step, she found that she was pulled back by Han Xing. Han Xing stepped out and stood in front of Chunya. "I am not weak enough to let a woman die. Since you want to live, why die? Leave the rest to me." Han Xing's voice was cold and his momentum soared. The stalwart figure saw Chunya's eyes shining, but at the same time, there was a trace of worry. She clenched her hands and stared at pockmarked man. Pockmarked man grinned, looked at Han Xing, and revealed a cold smile. "Boy, if you want to be a hero, it depends on whether you have the ability or not. Today I will let you see." Before he finished his words, pockmarked man covered his neck with his hand and stared blankly at the spear that pierced his neck, full of disbelief. Gulp. He opened his mouth and spat out only the blood that flowed out. A sense of powerlessness surged throughout his body. Puff, the spear was pulled back. Han Xing shook his head, so long-winded. Plop, Ma Zi fell heavily to the ground. After twitching a few times, he died on the spot. Such a scene shocked everyone present to the point where they stood dumbfounded. They stared blankly at Han Xing, their faces filled with disbelief. One shot? This speed is fast until Commander actually didn't react in time. Just how strong is he? Don't tell me he's a paramount god? What should we do? The group of guards looked at Han Xing, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Chunya stared at Han Xing with her eyes wide open. Her mouth formed an O shape as she revealed an expression of disbelief. My lord is actually this powerful? Looks like I was worried for nothing. Chunya mumbled to herself, revealing an embarrassed expression. Commander Zhu is dead. Commander Zhu has been killed. Run. Quick, report to the elders. Many guards fled in the face of danger. What awaited them was death on the spot. If anyone dares to escape, this will be the outcome. Listen to my command. The few of you, immediately send a message to the elders. The rest, kill them. The deputy commander pointed at Han Xing and roared loudly. This one was like a stabilizing needle. The group of guards immediately stopped fleeing, held their spears, and pounced straight at Han Xing. Han Xing stomped on the ground, leaped up, jumped into the crowd, and brandished his spear. The spear was like a dragon. Wherever it went, the bodies were pierced. One by one, the guards fell to the ground. It looked as if they were harvesting wheat. Such a scene strongly stimulated the deputy commander's nerve. The expression on his face kept changing. Finally, his eyes locked on Chunya. Striding forward, he pounced straight at Chunya. Seeing the deputy commander pouncing over, Chunya's face changed drastically. I can't be his hostage. Chunya gritted her teeth, strode forward, and fled frantically. However, how could she escape in front of the deputy commander who was like a wolf and a tiger? In the process of running in a panic, she fell to the ground. Chunya propped up her body, looked at the deputy commander pouncing over, and kept moving back. Don't come over, don't come over. No. Chunya let out an unwilling roar and used her hands to hold her head. The sound of metal piercing into flesh rang out. Chunya stared blankly in front of her, and couldn't help but widen her eyes. Only to see. A spear pierced through the deputy commander's back, pierced through his chest, and directly nailed to the ground. Blood flowed down the tip of the spear and onto the ground, dyeing the ground red. The deputy commander opened his mouth, tilted his head, and died on the spot. The spear was pulled out. The deputy commander's body fell heavily to the ground. The one standing in front of Chunya was Han Xing. Are you okay? Han Xing stretched out his hand and pulled Chunya up. Master, I'm fine. Chunya looked at Han Xing, her face full of gratitude. Master, let's leave here? Chunya looked at the corpses around her, her face full of fear. Don't be afraid, I'm here, no one can hurt you, Han Xing said. Master, don't tell me you want to, Chunya said until here, and could not continue. Her shocked look was indescribable. More than that, Han Xing smiled slightly, revealing an expression of control over everything. Master, don't tell me you want to wipe out the entire Hashan residence? Chunya asked. More than that. As soon as these words came out, Chunya's heart felt like it was hit by a raging wave, and she could not calm down for a long time. If not for wiping out the entire Hashan residence, then there was only one possibility. Master wanted to wipe out the entire Azura Gate. There were many people who had this idea. In fact, there were many experts who did so in the end. However, the skulls of those experts were hung in the Azura Gate's meeting hall, becoming a symbol of victory. Master, the Azura Gate leader is not someone you can imagine, Chunya said. Chunya, don't worry, you'll understand later. Let's sit down and rest for a while, then have a cup of tea. This tea was given to me by the young master. It's extremely extraordinary. I believe it will be of great help to you. After saying that, Han Xing took out a stool and sat down. Chunya looked at this scene, her face full of worry. Master, you're still in the mood to drink tea. You don't know. Before she finished, Chunya looked at the tea in Han Xing's hand, and her eyes widened. This is divine tea? Chunya asked. Yes, this is the divine tea of enlightenment. Wait a moment, it will be ready soon. After Han Xing finished speaking, he began to make tea. Although his movements were not as agile as Sun Hao's, it was still considered to be in line with the rules. In less than a moment, a pot of tea was brewed. He poured a cup and handed it to Chen. Chen-Ya's body trembled with excitement. After taking a small sip, her eyes bloomed with a strange light. Chapter 486. In a tea house in Azura City. Have you heard? Something big has happened in the Azura region. What happened? Tell me. I heard that the Azura's Gate division in Hell City was annihilated by a group of mysterious people. No way. I heard that Vice Sect Master Zhongming is in Hell City. How could he be destroyed? Zhongming? He was hacked into pieces and died a horrible death. Speaking of this, many people in the tea house gasped and felt a chill run down their spines. If the Azura Gate Patriarch finds out about this, how can he stand it? Isn't that obvious? These few days, the Azura's Gate Patriarch is enraged. The entire Azura's Gate is on edge. I have a bad premonition. Should we leave Azura City? Leave? Where else can we go? Heated discussions continued. He couldn't stop for a while. Sun Hao and others sat in the corner of the tea house and took a sip from time to time. Young master, are we going to begin? Sitting in front of Sun Hao was the Thunder Tribulation Sovereign. Are you ready? Sun Hao asked. Rest assured, young master, everything is ready. The Thunder Tribulation Dominus nodded heavily. Don't worry, wait a moment. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. The Thunder Tribulation Sovereign accompanied Sun Hao and continued to drink tea. Their appearances did not attract anyone's attention. After a while, let me tell you a big piece of news. At this moment, a man rushed into the tea house and said, Big news? Was the Azura's Gate division destroyed? Do I need you to tell me this news? Really? Hearing this, the man smiled. He waited for everyone to calm down before he continued. No, this news has nothing to do with the Shura Gate. Let me tell you, the Haotian Palace will open the Divine Tomb in half a month. Everyone can go. As soon as these words came out, the surroundings became deathly silent. Everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. Are you kidding me? Everyone can go. Does that require a lot of divine essence stones? Exactly. The Rakshasa Punch was not a kind-hearted person. They will never let us into the divine tomb. That's right, you must be joking. Voices of doubt rang out continuously. The man waved his hand. I'm not joking with you. The Supreme Heavenly Palace said that anyone can go to the God's tomb without charging any fees. You don't know, but this matter has already spread throughout the Shadow Realm. If we find out about this too late, we will miss the time to enter the tomb of the God of Sin, the man said. Looking at the man's serious expression, everyone was shocked. That kind of irrepressible surprise was written all over everyone's faces. Is this true? If the tomb of the God of Sin really opens, I must go. Me too. How can I miss such a good opportunity? Many of them had an eager expression on their faces. Sun Hao listened to this scene and nodded secretly. Since the tomb of the God of Sin was open, he could go there. There was no need to fight against the Rakshasa Punch. Finally, a piece of good news. Withdrawing his mood, Sun Hao looked at the Thunder Tribulation Sovereign and said with a smile, You can start. Yes, young master. The Thunder Tribulation ruler quickly left and soon disappeared in front of Sun Hao. Not long after he left. Boom, boom. The sound of explosions kept ringing out. These voices frightened many people in the tea house. Such a loud noise, what's going on? What happened? It seems to be the headquarters of the Azura Palace. It won't be destroyed, right? I'll go and see. I'll go too. Many people stepped forward and hurried to the Azura Palace. Soon, half of the people in the tea house were empty. The rest of the people, their faces changing, wanted to go but did not dare to go. Those who can attack the Azura sect are by no means simple, we'd better not go. Yes, if we are affected, we don't even know how we die. Just wait for the news. These people whispered, using their voices to cover up their inner fear. After a while, big event, big event. A man in a black robe rushed up to the tea house. Something big happened in the Azura Palace. The man in a black robe had a passionate expression. What the hell happened? Someone asked. I tell you, the old nest of the Azura Palace was destroyed by 4 people. The man in a black robe said. Are you kidding? 4 people destroyed the Azura Palace? No one believed the words of the man in a black robe. I'm not lying to you. These 4 people have great strength and means. Middle-grade divine weapons attacked them, but there was no reaction at all. And the weapons in their hands can easily penetrate the people of the Azura sect. No one can block a single move from them. You didn't see that scene, it really makes people's blood boil. The man in a black robe was beaming with joy and said excitedly. When these voices reached the ears of other cultivators, they showed a bitter expression. Are you serious? If they are so powerful, their strength, isn't it at the higher god realm? If I knew, I should have gone to see. The battle of the higher god is really exciting. Regret. I missed such a good opportunity. Many people showed a look of regret on their faces. There were even many people who beat their chests and stamped their feet, extremely regretful. Seeing this scene, the corner of the man in a black robe's mouth rose, extremely proud. His gaze swept around and finally stared at Sun Hao. In the scene, the only one who was calm was Sun Hao. Why did this person not react at all? So powerful, shouldn't he be excited? Does he not believe what I said? At this thought, the man in a black robe pulled his face down and strode to Sun Hao. Brother! The man in a black robe clasped his fist and saluted. What's the matter? Sun Hao looked up at the man in a black robe and asked. Do you not believe what I said? The man in a black robe asked. What do you mean? Sun Hao was puzzled. Brother, there is no excitement and surprise on your face. You obviously don't believe what I said. The man in a black robe looked angry. Sun Hao smiled slightly. It's not that I don't believe what you said, but what you said is sloppy and ordinary, nothing to be surprised about. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding cultivators looked shocked. They looked at Sun Hao, and they couldn't help but widen their eyes with a look of disbelief. Brother, this is the battle of the higher god, and you say it's sloppy and ordinary? The man in a black robe said. That's right. Could it be that you are the supreme god? Supreme god? Just him? He's so thin, I don't even fancy a higher god. A middle god actually laughed at the higher god's sloppy and ordinary. Is there such a funny thing in this world? Mocking laughter sounded constantly. When Sun Hao heard this, he smiled and shook his head, not taking it to heart. Seeing this scene in the eyes of the man in a black robe, he couldn't help but get angry. Brother, what do you mean by this? Why are you laughing at us? Could it be that you want to fight with me? The man in a black robe stood in front of Sun Hao and said coldly. Hearing this, Sun Hao looked startled. How did I provoke him? He actually wants to fight with me? It's just that, with your strength, is it enough? Sun Hao was about to agree. At this time, shocking news, shocking news! Exclamations came from downstairs. Chapter 487. Shocking news, shocking news. A woman in red quickly ran into the tea house, beaming with joy. Her voice instantly attracted everyone's attention. Even the black-robed man turned his head and looked at the woman in red, not bothering Sun Hao anymore. What news can make you so excited? The black-robed man looked at the woman in red and asked. Of course I'm excited. Do you know the strength of the Great Elder of Azura Palace? The woman in red asked. Great Elder Jigu? That's a 9th grade superior god expert. How can we not know? That's right, this is something that everyone knows. Could it be that Great Jigu was defeated? Everyone looked at the woman in red and asked. It's more than defeated. Jigu was killed by a young man with a fan. The woman in red said. As soon as this came out, Everyone's face showed a look of disbelief. What? Killed with a fan? How is this possible? A ninth-grade superior god is so weak? How strong is that young man? Exclamations sounded continuously. Disbelief was written all over their faces. The woman in red waited for everyone to be quiet before continuing. That young man is not just strong. You don't know, Jigu led dozens of elders to attack the young man, but no one could withstand a fan of his. Dozens of elders all died. That battle scene was like a tiger entering a flock of sheep. It's impossible to describe. The woman in red said excitedly with her eyebrows dancing. What happened after that? Later, the people of the Azura sect East Courtyard were all killed by that young man, and then I came here. The woman in red said. The scene was very quiet. Everyone's mouth was open, and they could not calm down for a long time. Hiss, the sound of cold air being sucked in came one after another. Not long after they recovered. Explosion, explosion. Another man quickly ran over. This time, this man was talking about the matter of 6 Ears Macaque killing the Azura sect leader with a stick. When the man finished speaking, everyone gasped again, shocked. Everyone's heart was hit by a storm, and they could not calm down for a long time. As they listened to the shocking news, they couldn't help but admire him. Qian Su, 2 polar guardians, Han Xing, thunder tribulation ruler, 6-eared macaque, everyone's faces appeared in their minds one by one. These people had become gods that they worshipped in their hearts. It was a long time. The entire scene gradually calmed down. Swish, the man in black robe stared at Sun Hao again. He walked forward with a displeased expression. Brother, why are you so calm? Do you not believe what we said? The black-robed man's voice attracted everyone's attention. Everyone's eyes returned to Sun Hao again. To be so calm, it seems like you don't believe what we said at all. So, you think I'm lying? I, Old Man Wu, never lie. Everything I say is true. Little brother, are you mocking us with that expression? Several people came forward and surrounded Sun Hao. He pulled up his sleeves and looked like he was ready for a fight. What you said is true, I believe you. Sun Hao sighed secretly and said. He really didn't want to act tough, so why did they have to force him? Believe? Then why aren't you surprised? That's right, not even a trace of worship. Facing everyone's arrogance, Sun Hao shook his head slightly. It's a normal performance. As for being surprised? Sun Hao asked. Very normal? Everyone laughed angrily. It seems that your strength is already at the Supreme God realm? Supreme God? Then I, a first-grade god, would like to ask you for advice. What do you think? Come on, fight with me, a 5th-grade god? Everyone surrounded Sun Hao and talked at once. Sun Hao looked at them, showing a very helpless look. They were so weak that they really didn't want to fight. This was forced by you. Sun Hao sighed secretly and was about to agree. Look! An exclamation sounded. This sound attracted everyone's attention. Following the direction of the man's finger, a young man with a fan strode forward. This person was none other than Zhang Tianping. Everyone's eyes were fixed on him, and their faces were full of excitement. Wow, so handsome! I didn't expect that there would be such a powerful and elegant young master in the Shadow Realm. It would be great if I could become his cultivation companion. Don't think about it. This kind of person has high standards and won't look at us. Exclamations sounded constantly. Zhang Tianping shook his head slightly when he heard this and didn't take it to heart. His gaze swept and was staring at Sun Hao. Looking at the people around Sun Hao, his face was full of doubts. In Zhang Tianping's eyes, the people around Sun Hao were guarding there like guards. Therefore, he didn't take it too seriously. It was normal for the young master to be surrounded wherever he went. Look, they're all here. At this time, another exclamation sounded. In everyone's shocked eyes. One by one, figures walked upstairs in succession. Thunder Tribulation Sovereign, 6-eared macaque, Qian Su, Han Xing, the two extreme guardians, and Chen Ye, who followed Han Xing. Their figures attracted everyone's attention. Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Especially when they saw the people around them, their jaws almost dropped. My idol is here, my heart can't stand it. What a powerful aura, what a terrible momentum. They are the people who destroyed Azura sect? This is way too powerful. I will actually share a room with such a character. This may be the blessing cultivated in the previous life. That's right, I feel like I'm dreaming, it's too unreal. Everyone's eyes swept to Thunder Tribulation Sovereign and the others in turn. The light of worship kept shining. For these, Thunder Tribulation Sovereign and the others turned a blind eye. Their eyes were directly fixed on Sun Hao. A group of people walked directly in all directions of Sun Hao, watching Thunder Tribulation Sovereign and the others coming. The hearts of the black-robed man and others couldn't help beating violently. Even if there was no pressure released, at this moment, several people's faces changed slightly. My idol is coming over. Is he interested in my talent and wants to accept me as an apprentice? I'm so nervous, my heart seems to stop beating. Several people muttered to themselves, their legs were like lead, and for a while it was difficult to move. Thunder Tribulation Sovereign and the others looked at them and couldn't help but frown slightly. After seeing that Sun Hao didn't speak, they directly faced Sun Hao's direction and saluted with their fist. Greetings, young master. As soon as these words came out, the black-robed man and others looked startled, and the whole person stood in place with a look of disbelief. Idol called me young master? This kind of respect, this is unlikely, right? Could it be that I am a one-in-a-million genius, and my idol is interested in me, but I am a woman? What the hell is going on? What happened? In the next second, the faces of these people kept changing. Chapter 488. At ease. This sound was like a thunderclap. Boom, it hit everyone's mind heavily. The group of people around Sun Hao were pale at the moment, and their bodies trembled violently. They looked at Sun Hao blankly, and for a while it was difficult to calm down. That kind of disbelief, that kind of surprise, that kind of regret. Words couldn't describe it. At this moment, Sun Hao became the focus of everyone's attention. How is this possible? They are so respectful to that kid, no, that young master? Is it possible that they were all sent out by this young master? If this is the case, how terrifying is that young master's strength? At this point, everyone's body trembled, and they couldn't help but take a few breaths of cold air. Panic was written all over their faces, especially the man in black robe. His whole face was pale with fear, and his face was ashen. His body was uncontrollable, shaking like a sieve. He lowered his head, and an indescribable regret was written all over his face. Compared to the black-robed man, the people standing around him were in no way inferior. That young master must be a peerless power. A few subordinates can easily destroy the Azura sect. I'm afraid that the young master's strength is unimaginable. I actually want to compete with that power? Have I gone crazy? It's over, this kind of provocation, how can I survive this time? The man in black robe and others muttered to themselves, their faces full of bitterness. They stood in place, wanting to move but not daring to move. The color of despair was written all over everyone's face. It looked like a criminal waiting for the capital punishment. You guys, do you still want to compete with me? Sun Hao said. Boom. A sudden clap of thunder shook the hearts of the few of them. Their bodies collapsed to the ground uncontrollably. What? They want to compete with the young master? Just you few soft-footed shrimps, do you deserve it? Want to compete, right? No need, young master, I'll do it. Against the sky, who wants to compete with the young master, eat my stick. The Thunder Retribution Lord and others were full of anger, looking angrily at the man in black robe and others. Every word, like 9 days of divine thunder, made their bodies tremble. It's over. Looking at the wolf-like thunder tribulation sovereign pouncing over, they could only think of this word. Since you don't want to spar with me, then please step aside. It was like the sound of nature. The black-robed man and the others stood rooted to the spot, revealing expressions of disbelief. What? Do you still want to stay here and fight with me? This sound woke them up. Everyone struggled to stand up. After cupping their fists to Sun Hao, they walked to the side. They looked back at Sun Hao with extremely complicated expressions. That young master is the most broad-minded person in this world. We provoked him like this, but he didn't take it to heart. This really makes us blush with shame. Sure enough, the stronger one is, the bigger their horizons would be, and the more magnanimous they would be. They wouldn't fuss over everything. Discussions in low voices sounded continuously. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Sun Hao. For these, Sun Hao had long been used to it and did not take it to heart. He looked up at the Thunder Tribulation Dominus and the others and said, "Don't just stand there, sit down." "Yes, young master." Everyone took their seat. The only one left standing was Chunya. Sun Hao looked at Chunya with a startled expression. "This is—" "Young master, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce. This is Chunya, the daughter of the Azura king." Han Xing told him about his encounter with Chunya, and Sun Hao nodded slightly. "Young master, can you let her follow me?" Han Xing asked. "Of course, you don't need to ask me for such a trivial matter," Sun Hao said. "Thank you, young master." Chunya bowed and saluted with a grateful face. "No need to be polite, bring a stool and sit down." "Yes, young master." Everyone gathered around Sun Hao and looked at him seriously. "What's the result?" Sun Hao asked. "Young master, the Azura sect was completely eradicated, no one was left," the Thunder Tribulation Dominus said. "Good job." Sun Hao nodded slightly. All of this was expected by himself. "By the way, the Tomb of God will open, have you confirmed this?" Sun Hao asked. "Young master, I was just about to tell you about this. The Tomb of God is about to open, and it was said by the One-Punch Rakshasa himself. This matter is reliable," the Thunder Tribulation Dominus said. "Is there really such primordial chi in this Tomb of God?" Sun Hao asked. "Young master, in the Tomb of God, it is said that those buried are all ancient gods. After their death, their bodies will decompose for countless years, and their divine spark will turn into primordial matter. This primordial chi is one of them. However, the divine power in the Tomb of God is vast, and the laws are raging. It is extremely dangerous. If you are not careful, you will die on the spot," Qian Su said seriously. "Whether it is dangerous or not, as long as there is primordial chi, it will be fine. Let's break into this Tomb of God. Collect enough primordial chi to help you condense your divine spark. That is the most important thing," Sun Hao said. "Young master." When everyone heard this, their faces were full of gratitude. "Well, there is still half a month, then let's set off first," Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." Everyone followed Sun Hao and quickly walked out of the tea house in front of everyone's stunned expression. After Sun Hao left for a long time, the people in the tea house gradually calmed down. "It's so nervous to be with so many big shots." "Don't say it, my heart is going to stop, it's terrible." Fortunately, that powerful figure didn't care about it, otherwise with one finger of his, we will all die here. Everyone secretly wiped their cold sweat, secretly thinking that it was dangerous. The black-robed man took a few long breaths, which made him feel much better. He looked at the stool where Sun Hao was sitting and walked forward with a puzzled face. Standing in front of the table, he opened the teapot that Sun Hao had used and couldn't help but be stunned. "My God, this is divine tea. That powerful figure actually drank divine tea." The black-robed man held the teapot and poured it into his mouth. The colorful light on the tea instantly attracted the attention of others. "Divine tea!" An exclamation attracted everyone's attention. Soon, someone moved. They rushed toward the black-robed man like wolves and tigers. Bang! In the midst of the scramble, the teapot fell to the ground, and the tea splashed everywhere. These cultivators, without any disgust, lay on the ground and went to devour the tea. It looked like a licking dog. Here! An exclamation came out of the tea-house. Soon, countless people rushed over. They crowded into the door like a swarm of bees. Looking at the tea leaves on the ground, they began to snatch them. Boom! Boom! The loud noise continued. The entire tea-house was torn apart in the scramble of the crowd. Such a scene, the surrounding onlookers were stunned in place, revealing incredible surprise. What the hell is going on? You still don't know? I heard that a super powerful figure came here, and it is said that the tea he drinks is the best divine tea. What Sun Hao didn't know was that he had news of enlightenment divine tea, which was spreading to the entire Shadow Realm with Azura City as the center. It was because of his mystery that he was called the Mysterious Young Master. Chapter 489. In a mansion in the south of the Shadow Realm, a 5-meter-tall humanoid monster with scales all over its body sat on it, coldly looking down. This person was the pavilion master of the desolate pavilion, Tian Huang. He looked at his subordinates on both sides and said, "Can something big happen while I am in seclusion?" Pavilion Master. A man stood up and bowed respectfully. Pavilion Master, 2 major events have happened in the Shadow Realm. The man said. 2 major events? Tell me about it, Tian Huang asked. Pavilion Master, the first important thing is that the godly tomb is about to open. 1 Rakshasa punch can let anyone enter without charging any fees, the man said. Hearing this, Tian Huang nodded slightly. Divine tomb? Not bad, I must go and take a look at this god's tomb. What about the second one? Tian Huang asked. The second is the birth of the tea of enlightenment. With that, the man took out a soaked tea leaf and respectfully handed it to Tian Huang. Once this thing appeared, Tian Huang's expression froze, his eyes emitting a strange light. Above the tea leaves in his hand, several wisps of faintly discernible 7-colored divine light were flowing, strongly attracting Tian Huang's attention. It really is divine enlightenment tea. Has it been soaked? Tian Huang asked. That's right. The man nodded. What's the specific situation? Tian Huang asked. Pavilion Master, the comprehending divine tea came from the hands of a mysterious young master. The man said. Mysterious young master? Tian Huang frowned, looking puzzled. Pavilion Master, the mysterious young master is a white-clothed youth. This name was given by someone else. It seems that every time the mysterious young master drinks tea, it is divine enlightenment tea. I think he still has a lot of divine enlightenment tea on him. The man said. These words were like the sounds of nature, strongly stimulating everyone's ears. Everyone's eyes shone with a strange light. Congratulations, Pavilion Master, to hear such great news as soon as you come out of seclusion. The divine tea of enlightenment belongs to those who are capable. With the Pavilion Master's ability, it will definitely be a piece of cake. A few subordinates stepped forward and said. When Tian Huang heard this, he waved his hand, indicating for everyone to be quiet. He looked at the man and continued to ask, How strong is the mysterious young master? The man was taken aback. He was at a loss for words. Pavilion Master, no one has seen the mysterious young master make a move. However, his subordinates possess extraordinary strength. One person killed the Azura's Gate sovereign with a single strike of his staff. Judging from his fleshly body strength, he's at least a 5th-tier paramount god. To be able to subdue 5 paramount gods, he must be at least a 9th-grade paramount god, the man said. Listening to the analysis, Tian Huang nodded slightly. He furrowed his brows and revealed a thoughtful expression. A moment later, he stood up and looked at the man. Where can I find him? Pavilion Master, This person is also preparing to go to the god's tomb. He must be on his way there now. The man said. All right. Tian Huang nodded and looked at everyone. Gather everyone, let's go to the tomb of the god of sin. Yes, pavilion leader. In a certain cave abode in the shadow realm. Master, master! A shout came from outside the cave. Immediately afterward, a green-robed woman ran in from outside and looked at an old man in the cave with an excited expression. This old man had a head full of white hair, but his face was extremely ruddy. He looked like a white-haired Guan Yu. He opened his phoenix eyes and looked at the green-robed woman with a hint of displeasure. Little you, how many times have I told you not to disturb Master when he's in seclusion? The white-haired old man said. Master, don't be anxious. The green-robed woman took out half a tea leaf and handed it to the white-haired old man. As soon as this thing appeared, it instantly attracted the white-haired old man's attention. He widened his eyes and grabbed the tea leaf in the green-robed woman's hand. He placed it gently in his hand and kept looking at it. On the half tea leaf, a few strands of 7-colored divine light flowed slowly. The white-haired old man's eyes lit up as he looked at it. He held the tea leaf under his nose and sniffed it gently. Divine tea of enlightenment, it really is divine tea of enlightenment. I haven't seen this in a million years. It's incredible. However, the aura of this divine tea of enlightenment is a little weak. It can't compare to the divine tea of enlightenment from a million years ago. The white-haired old man returned the half-tea leaf to the green-robed woman and could not help but sigh. The green-robed woman smiled slightly. Master, if I told you that this half-tea leaf had been soaked and thrown away, what would you think? What? The white-haired old man's eyes widened as he stared at the green-robed woman. Is this true? Master, would I lie to you? This tea leaf was indeed thrown away by a young master. I spent a lot of money to get it, the green-robed woman said. The white-haired old man took the half-tea leaf again and looked it up and down. Divine tea of enlightenment, only a few leaves can be collected in 100,000 years. Such a precious divine tea of enlightenment is lost just like that after one soak. Too extravagant, it's simply a reckless waste of God's gifts. This needs to be soaked at least 20 times before it can be thrown away. The white-haired old man revealed a pained look. The green-robed woman looked at the white-haired old man's appearance and revealed an embarrassed smile on her face. Master, I heard that the young master has a big bag of this divine tea of enlightenment. At least a few pounds. These two sentences were like a thunderclap in the white-haired old man's mind. For a moment, he stood in place and did not move for a long time. He opened his mouth wide enough to stuff a few eggs. After taking a few deep breaths, the white-haired old man calmed down. He looked at the green-robed woman and asked, Who is it? Where is he? No one knows his name, but the world calls him the mysterious young master. As for where he is now, I'm not too sure. However, he is preparing to go to the divine tomb. The green-robed woman said. The divine tomb? The white-haired old man's face showed a trace of fear. He dares to go to that place. Since he has so much divine tea of enlightenment, then let's go to the divine tomb and wait for him. We must seize all the divine tea of enlightenment. The white-haired old man showed a confident expression. Master, although this mysterious young master has not made a move, but his men are all very powerful. It is said that a few of his men destroyed the entire Shura sect. The green-robed woman said. Shura sect? The white-haired old man shook his head for a while. Just that group of mobs, this old man can destroy them with one finger. The green-robed woman was shocked. Master, you have broken through. That's right. My physical body has been tempered to the Lord level. The white-haired old man showed a face of arrogance. He stood up and looked out of the cave residence. It is time to go out for a walk. Otherwise, this world will forget the existence of the limitless old man. Yes, master. The green-robed woman followed the white-haired old man and quickly walked out of the cave residence. Scenes like this played out all over the Shadow Realm. At this moment, because of the appearance of the divine tea of enlightenment, the entire Shadow Realm surged. All kinds of old monsters came out of seclusion. Chapter 490. The entrance to the divine tomb in the Shadow Realm. There was an incomparably huge ravine that split the earth in half. Looking down from above, it was impossible to see the bottom. Within the ravine, the hurricane howled like a ghost as it whistled past. It blew apart the surrounding rock walls, forming rolling dust that surged rapidly. It looked as if the sea of clouds was rolling over and over, beautiful beyond words. A stone bridge led to the entrance of the tomb of the god of sin. The stone bridge was covered with dense arrays that blocked the onslaught of the hurricanes below. On both sides of the stone bridge stood guards in golden armor. They guarded the stone bridge and forbade anyone from crossing. At the other end of the tomb of the god of sin, in front of the stone bridge, countless practitioners had already surrounded the place. As far as the eye could see, it was impossible to tell how many there were. "He's here!" Suddenly, an exclamation sounded. Following the direction of the man's finger, everyone looked into the distance. When they saw who it was, they couldn't help but raise their eyebrows, and their eyes lit up. They saw. Not far away, Sun Hao took 8 people and walked towards the tomb of God step by step. Looking at the densely packed crowd, he could not help but be taken aback. "Miss Qiansu, how many days before the tomb of the god of sin opens?" Sun Hao asked. "Young master, there is still one more day," Qiansu said. "1 day?" Sun Hao raised the corner of his mouth, looked around, and pointed to an open space in the distance. "Let's go there to rest." "Yes, young master." Everyone followed Sun Hao and walked together to the open space. Then, Sun Hao took out tables and chairs and sat down with them. "Are you thirsty? Would you like to drink some Da Hong Pao?" Sun Hao asked. "Yes, young master." No one could refuse the divine tea of enlightenment. Sun Hao took out the tea set and then took out the tea leaves. Once this thing appeared. Swish! Everyone's gaze swept over him at the same time. That kind of undisguised greed was written all over their faces. "My God, it really is the divine tea of enlightenment. Such a big bag, it must be at least a few kilograms, right? How could he have so many precious tea leaves?" Cries of alarm resounded throughout the sky. The entire scene was extremely explosive. At this moment, Sun Hao became the focus of everyone. Many people showed eager expressions and wanted to rush towards Sun Hao, but they didn't dare. In the crowd, Tian Huang looked at Sun Hao with a cold smile on his lips. This kid actually had so much divine comprehension tea. Don't you know not to show off your wealth? Taking out so much to show off, was he courting death? "Pavilion Master, should we make a move?" one of Tian Huang's subordinates asked. Hearing this, the corner of Tian Huang's lips curled up as he shook his head. "Don't worry, there are many people who are more anxious than us. Let them test it out first," Tian Huang said with a smile. "Pavilion Master is wise." As soon as he finished speaking, a strong man stepped forward and went straight to where Sun Hao was. Such a scene instantly attracted everyone's attention. What does he want? Of course, he's definitely going to steal the divine tea of enlightenment. What? He, a lesser deity, wants to snatch the divine comprehension tea? He must be tired of living. That's right. Young Sir Trickster is surrounded by paramount gods. This kid is dead for sure. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the burly man. Many people showed a pitying expression for the burly man. The next second, they could see the scene of the brawny man's head being smashed open. Only to see. The burly man stopped after running a certain distance. He saluted Sun Hao with his fists. "Mysterious young master, can I sit here?" Mysterious young master? Sun Hao was taken aback. It seemed that he had been given a nickname again. However, it didn't matter. "Whatever you want," Sun Hao said. "Thank you, young master." The burly man bowed and sat on the ground, not caring about the dirt on the ground. He stared at Sun Hao making tea and opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but he didn't dare to say it. Finally, he summoned up his courage and said, "Young master, after you finish drinking the tea, can you give me the tea that has been soaked in the teapot?" After saying this, the burly man regretted it. He even asked the mysterious young master for the divine tea. He was simply courting death. "Young master, if you don't want to, then forget it." The burly man lowered his head and lowered it. Sun Hao listened to his words and couldn't help but look stunned. Could the tea that had been soaked still be useful? Even if it was soaked again, it would be tasteless to drink. What does this guy want this kind of tea for? Is there a use that I don't know? Soaked tea, what do you use it for? Sun Hao asked. "Young master, I naturally take it and drink it again," the burly man said. "Do you want to drink Da Hongpo?" Sun Hao asked. And the burly man nodded again and again. "What's the point of soaked tea? Sit down and drink it together," Sun Hao said. Boom! A thunderclap blasted the burly man in place, and he didn't recover at all. He couldn't help but pick his ears, thinking that he had heard wrong. After pinching himself a few times, he walked to Sun Hao's side obediently. "Don't be nervous, I don't eat people, sit down," Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master." The burly man sat next to him, and his gratitude was overflowing. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. Incomparable remorse was written all over everyone's face. How is this possible? Isn't the godly cunning immortal too easy to talk to? If I knew, I should have rushed forward. Regret. I can have tea with the godly cunning young master, why don't I go? The voice of remorse kept ringing. In the crowd, the corner of Tian Huang's mouth twitched slightly, and his face was extremely ugly. If the godly cunning immortal was so easy to talk to, why did he still fight? It wasn't necessary at all. But Tian Huang secretly slapped himself in the face. On the other side of the crowd, a white-haired old man's face was ugly, and he was secretly hateful. Just now, he was too cautious and let others test it. As a result, the good fortune was seized by others first. If he had known earlier, it would have been good to treat him with courtesy. I, limitless old man, am a fool, the white-haired old man muttered to himself with a face of remorse. When everyone was regretting, tap tap, a burst of footsteps sounded. Countless people, like a torrent, rushed straight to where Sun Hao was. They were a few meters away from Sun Hao, clasping their fists and saluting. "Greetings, young master." The neat voice resounded through heaven and earth. Every one of them had a look of extreme respect on their faces. Looking at these people, Sun Hao smiled and shook his head. He knew very well what they were here for. "No need to be polite," Sun Hao said lightly. "Thank you, young master." "Do you want to drink tea here?" Sun Hao asked. As soon as these words came out, these people looked startled, showing a look of shame. They lowered their heads and did not dare to look at Sun Hao's eyes. "Since you want to drink tea so much, then all sit down." After speaking, Sun Hao waved his right hand. Tables and chairs filled the entire flat ground. The number was just enough for those who rushed over to sit down. Chapter 491. Boom! There was a loud noise. A teapot several meters high was taken out by Sun Hao. Then, he took out another shelf, put the teapot on it. Sun Hao took the bag of tea and poured it all into the teapot without any hesitation. Although nearly 1,000 people have tea, these 8 caddies of tea are still too little. Pour another 10 caddies. After speaking, Sun Hao's mind moved and took out another bag of tea. In front of everyone's stunned eyes, he poured all the tea into the teapot. Then, he began to make tea. Such a scene directly scared the onlookers in place. My ancestor, this so much enlightenment tea, it's incredible. It seems that in front of the mysterious young master, these enlightenment tea, I'm afraid, can't be more ordinary. What kind of existence is that mysterious young master? I'm afraid it's an unimaginable existence. The exclamation, once again, exploded the entire scene. As the tea fragrance drifted, many people sniffed their noses. A feeling of thirst surged all over his body. Tian Huang looked at this scene, and his whole person stood in place, and he did not recover for a long time. But he gave himself a hard slap on the face. If he rushed over just now, he could also taste enlightenment tea. Pavilion Master, let's make a move and grab that teapot? One of his men asked. But Tian Huang gave this man a hard slap in the face. You have a little brain. Someone who can take out so much enlightenment tea at once is by no means a simple person. If you dare to grab it, you will definitely die, Tian Huang said. When the man heard this, he showed a face of fear. He looked at Tian Huang. Pavilion Master, you are right. Then let's go ask the mysterious young master if we can drink a cup of enlightenment tea? The man asked. This, Tian Huang showed hesitation, and finally nodded secretly. Then, he led a group of men, like a torrent, straight to where Sun Hao was. On the other side. Master, are we just going to watch like this? This is Tao enlightenment tea. The woman in green looked at the limitless old man and said, I know, but if we go now, we will only hit the nose. The limitless old man said, Master, didn't you break through? Can't you just grab it? The woman in green asked, Rob? Even if you don't want your life, I still want it. The limitless old man revealed an expression of disappointment. To be able to take out so much Tao comprehension divine tea at once, he must be an old monster who has lived for tens of millions of years. I'm afraid there are countless methods at the disposal of such an existence. Rashly snatching it will only result in death. Limitless old man said. Hearing this, the green-clothed woman's expression changed slightly, and she secretly wiped away the cold sweat on her forehead. Tens of millions of years? The green-clothed woman opened her mouth wide and muttered for a long time without saying a single word. Master, are there any old monsters that have lived for tens of millions of years in this world? Even a god-emperor can only live for a few million years, right? The green-robed woman's face was filled with disbelief. This means that the mysterious young master's strength is definitely above the god-emperor, the limitless old man said. Hearing this, the green-clothed woman gasped. Hiss, after a long time, he finally calmed down. Doesn't that mean that the mysterious child has reached the saint realm, the same realm as the Tai-In underworld ancestor? The green-clothed woman asked. Not bad. Seeing the limitless old man nod his head, the green-clothed woman gasped again. The two men stared directly in Sun Hao's direction, only to see. Deng deng, the sound of galloping horses rang out. The people who were originally surrounding the tomb of God, at this moment, like a torrent, rushed straight in the direction of Sun Hao. After standing at a certain distance, everyone saluted together. Greetings, young master. The neat voice resounded through the world. Sun Hao looked at them and couldn't help but shake his head. Even if he had a lot of tea leaves, it was impossible to give them to people indefinitely. No need to be polite. I don't know what you are looking for this seed for? Sun Hao asked. This, everyone lowered their heads together and didn't dare to speak. Since you are all right, then retreat, Sun Hao said. Young master, can we ask for a cup of tea? There were always a lot of courageous people. No. Sun Hao opened his mouth faintly and continued to make tea. As soon as these words came out, many people's faces showed a look of remorse. Papa. Tian Huang slapped himself a few times in the crowd. Remorse was written all over his face. For these, Sun Hao completely ignored. Mysterious young master, I think it's better for us to drink your pot of tea. In the crowd, a strange voice sounded. This voice came from all directions, and for a while, people couldn't tell the direction. Who is it? The courage is careless. This is the sound-splitting array, making it impossible to distinguish the direction of the voice and find out who said it. The sound of discussion continued. When Sun Hao heard this, he also looked startled. What if I don't give it? Sun Hao said with a smile. Then I'm sorry, we will rob it. Mysterious young master, look in front of you, there are a lot of strong people. If we attack together, can you defend? Even if you are fine, won't the people around you be fine? The voice said sentence by sentence, helping Sun Hao analyze the pros and cons. At the same time, it troubled everyone. It planted the seed of preparation to rob in the hearts of many people. When this person finished speaking, Sun Hao smiled slightly. If I were you, I wouldn't hide my head and show my tail, I would stand up directly. Ha ha, wild laughter sounded. The meaning of contempt was contained in it. Want me to come out, don't even think about it. Mysterious young master, hand over the teapot. Well, you're good, I'm good, everyone is good. What are you still doing? Get ready to make a move. This is enlightenment tea. If you get a drop, your strength will break through a small realm. There is no problem. If you get a sip, it is not impossible to break through a big realm. The tempting voice resounded in everyone's mind. Many people were eager to try and were ready to make a move. When Sun Hao heard this, he showed a calm face. He secretly stretched out his finger and pointed forward. Kacha, the formation that he had set up, quietly shattered. This is a great fortune. If you miss this time, there will be no next time. That person was dressed in red. As he spoke, he stopped. He looked forward and found that everyone's eyes were fixed on him. Not good, the array is broken. The man in red's face changed drastically, and without any hesitation, he quickly squeezed into the crowd. However, don't you want to rob the young master's teapot? You're leaving just like that. A scalp exploding sound rang in his ear. Turning around, he couldn't help but narrow his eyes. At some point, the six-eared macaque had come behind him. Stretching out his claws, he grabbed toward him. The terrifying force grabbed the man in red, and no matter how he struggled, it was useless. Boom! The six-eared macaque took the man in red, jumped up, and landed in front of Sun Hao. Then, he directly threw the man in red to the ground. Chapter 492. Boom! The man in red fell heavily in front of Sun Hao. He knelt down in front of Sun Hao and kept kowtowing. Young master, I'm wrong, please spare my life. I'll never do this again, please. The man in red shivered and kept begging for mercy. Sun Hao looked at the man in red and ignored him. I don't cause trouble, but I'm not afraid of trouble. If you want to rob me of my things, then you have to be prepared to die. Although I have a lot of enlightened divine tea, not everyone can grab it. You bewitch people and want to rob me of my things, this is the end. After saying that, Sun Hao stretched out his finger, aimed at the eyebrows of the man in red, and stabbed it down. No, an unwilling shout came to an abrupt end. Boom! The man in red began to crack from the eyebrows, and directly burst into powder. When the wind blew, there was nothing left. The scene was very quiet. Everyone stared at Sun Hao blankly, and their faces kept changing. Many people's faces showed a look of fear. They secretly wiped their cold sweat and thought it was dangerous. He turned a mid-god into dust with a single finger. His strength is so terrifying. The mysterious young master is really unfathomable. Fortunately, I didn't act impulsively, otherwise, I'm afraid I will be the one to die. Everyone muttered to themselves, stepped forward, and retreated one after another. Soon, in front of Sun Hao, there were only the 1,000 cultivators who came first. On the faces of these 1,000 cultivators, everyone showed uncontrollable joy. Looking at Sun Hao, they showed a look of worship. The young master is decisive in killing, and at the same time, he is kind-hearted. This kind of great spirit, no one can match. From now on, the mysterious young master is the supreme god in my heart. Everyone muttered to themselves, all staring at Sun Hao. Only to see. Sun Hao took out a huge cup, lifted the teapot with one hand, and began to pour tea into the cup. Wisps of 7-colored light flowed in the cup, which was pleasing to the eye. 6 ears, you take this and give it to everyone. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. 6 ears macaque and others came forward, each took out a ladle and other tools, and began to scoop. Suddenly, 6-eared macaque's expression changed. He took out his metal rod, aimed it forward, and smashed it down. Bang! There was an explosion. A man slowly appeared in front of everyone. At this moment, his head exploded, and he couldn't be more dead. Who else dares to snatch it? Come at me. 6-eared macaque rested the metal rod on his shoulder, and began to pour tea for everyone. Pu-sia, the sound of flesh being pierced rang out. The one who had attacked was Han Xing. His spear pierced the air, but a man appeared. The man's chest was pierced through, and blood flowed freely. Plop! He fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and then stopped moving. His eyes were wide open, and he died with everlasting regret. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. A paramount god was stabbed to death? My God! That person is the Dark Ghost Man. I didn't expect him to die so miserably. What, Dark Ghost Man? Wasn't he a 9th-grade paramount god? How did he die just like that? That's impossible. The movement technique practiced by the Dark Ghost Man is extremely powerful. So, the people who follow the mysterious young master are all primary gods. Exclamations sounded constantly. They looked at 6-eared macaque and the others, all written all over their faces. For these, everyone ignored them and continued to distribute the tea. The person who got the enlightenment divine tea took the cup and put it in front of his eyes. His body trembled slightly with excitement, put it to his mouth, and took a small sip. A warm current surged through his whole body. His physical body was growing rapidly. A moment later, haha, I broke through, I actually broke through to the 9th-grade superior god realm. Breaking through 2 great realms in a row, incredible. The grade of this enlightenment divine tea is unimaginable. Exclamations sounded constantly. These voices strongly stimulated the ears of the onlookers. When they heard this, they were regretful. In the crowd, Tian Huang sat on the ground with an ugly face. That remorse was written all over his face. Pa, pa. He waved his palm and slapped his face from time to time. Pavilion Master, don't hit yourself. Why don't we rush over and grab a cup? A subordinate came forward and said. Pa. Tian Huang slapped his subordinate hard. Even if you want to die, don't come and hurt me. On the other side, the limitless old man was also full of regret. Master, are we just going to watch like this? The woman in green asked. Then what do you want? Even the Dark Ghost Man is dead. Who can be their opponent? The limitless old man said angrily. Master, I didn't mean that. You see, that young master is gentle and elegant, worthy of deep friendship. Even if we don't get the enlightenment divine tea, we can still be friends, the woman in green said. Hearing this, the limitless old man's eyes lit up. You're right. I must get to know such a character. However, it's the first time we meet, I have to give some gifts. Thinking like this, the limitless old man's mind swept into the soul space. After searching for a long time, he finally took out a 7-colored shining crystal stone. When the woman in green saw this scene, she couldn't help but stare. Master. Master, you want to give this divine essence crystal away? Yes. In front of the mysterious young master, I can only take out this top-grade divine essence crystal, the limitless old man said. Master, then let's go, the woman in green said. Okay. The limitless old man nodded and took the lead to walk forward. Arriving 5 meters in front of Sun Hao, the limitless old man saluted respectfully. I have seen the mysterious young master. This sentence attracted everyone's attention. Everyone stared at the limitless old man. This old man doesn't give up, and he still wants to ask for tea? He will be beaten black and blue later. Yes, the mysterious young master is not someone an old man like him can provoke. Such voices kept ringing. When the limitless old man heard this, his face changed slightly. He looked at Sun Hao, and his heart couldn't help beating violently. Are you here to ask for tea? Sun Hao's face showed a trace of displeasure. No, no, the limitless old man waved his hand again and again. I see that the young master has an extraordinary temperament, and I want to make friends. This is a little gift from me, please accept it. The limitless old man took out the divine essence crystal and handed it to Sun Hao. As soon as this thing came out, there was dead silence all around. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the divine essence crystal. There was no concealment of greed. That is the divine essence crystal. What? The legendary divine essence crystal, my God! Look at that appearance. I am afraid it is the top-grade divine essence crystal. Doesn't that mean that this value is not lower than the value of a cup of enlightenment divine tea? Of course, the divine essence contained in the divine essence crystal, taken out of the shadow realm, is enough to let the gods break through a great realm. Chapter 493. Divine Origin Crystals? Sun Hao took the divine essence crystal and looked at it in his hand. The power contained within was indeed surging. Are you sure you want to give it to me? Sun Hao asked. As long as young master doesn't mind. The limitless old man nodded. Okay, I'll accept it. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Are we friends now? Limitless old man asked. Of course. Seeing Sun Hao nod, the limitless old man's eyes bloomed with a strange light. I wonder who you are? Sun Hao asked. Young master, my name is Emo Wuji, everyone calls me Old Man Wuji. This is my disciple, Zhou Xiaoye. The limitless old man introduced. As soon as these words came out, the entire scene was dead silent. Everyone stared at the limitless old man, their faces filled with disbelief. What? Emo Wuji? Is he really limitless old man? Limitless old man? He's Emo Wuji, the strongest expert in the Shadow Realm 500,000 years ago? Impossible, right? I heard that 500,000 years ago, limitless old man never appeared again. Such a peerless expert is actually still alive. Cries of surprise rang out continuously. Everyone's face was filled with shock. Limitless old man? Sun Hao nodded slightly. Young master, please take care of me when we enter the divine tomb. The limitless old man cupped his fists and bowed. Since we are friends, of course. Sit down, let's have a cup of tea together. Sun Hao said. Old man Wuji was shocked, and he revealed a look of disbelief. Since we're friends, there's no need to stand on ceremony. Sit down, Sun Hao said. Many thanks, young master. The limitless old man's face revealed an expression of uncontrollable gratitude. Miss Xiaoye, you sit down too, Sun Hao said. Many thanks, young master. Zhou Xiaoye's big eyes flashed with a strange light as she sat beside the limitless old man. He took a small sip, and a warm current flowed into his chest. He was so excited that he trembled slightly. Extreme comfort spread throughout his body. Zhou Xiaoye could not help but let out a soft cry. A breakthrough! My fleshly body has reached the first-tier Supreme God level? Zhou Xiaoye muttered to herself excitedly. The quality of this divine enlightenment tea is actually this terrifying. My physical body has recovered to the level of a 9th-grade overgod. Old Man Limitless was extremely excited. Seeing the change in their expressions, Sun Hao smiled slightly and did not take it to heart. After drinking the tea he brewed, there was no one who wouldn't be excited. If I had the top-grade divine essence crystal, wouldn't I be able to drink the enlightened tea and become friends with the mysterious young master? That's of course. But forget about superior-grade divine essence crystals, just ordinary divine essence crystals. It's impossible for you to possess them. If I can become friends with such a peerless character, my fortune will be limitless. The surrounding Xiozha looked at the limitless old man with excited expressions. In the crowd, Tian Huang stood where he was, his expression constantly changing. He secretly opened his soul space, and after scanning it, he couldn't help but shake his head. Hey, the mysterious young master doesn't seem to be very satisfied with the top-grade divine origin crystals. How can I take out such a peerless treasure now? Looks like it's impossible to become young master's friend. Tian Huang murmured to himself with a bitter expression. Clang! Suddenly, the sound of armor colliding rang out. These sounds attracted everyone's attention. They saw a group of majestic golden armor guards dressed in golden armor heading straight in the direction of Sun Hao. The leader was extremely tall and mighty, with muscles that seemed to burst out of his armor. He looked extremely extraordinary. Commander Mo Chu? Why is he here? No way? The first commander of Haotian Palace, Missouri Chu? Yes, it's him. I recognize Commander Mo Chu. It is said that he is the #1 expert under the One-Punch Rakshasa. Is this true? Of course. Commander Mo Chu comes forward for many things. Only when Commander Mo Chu can't suppress the situation, the One-Punch Rakshasa will take action. So powerful, then what is he doing here? Hey, are they going to find the mysterious young master? The color of doubt was written on everyone's face. The golden armor commander looked straight ahead and walked directly in the direction of Sun Hao. In less than a moment, he stopped 100 meters away in front of Sun Hao. Line up! The golden armor commander shouted softly, and all the golden armor guards moved together, lined up in several rows, and made an offensive and defensive posture. Looking at it, it seemed that they were ready to attack. The golden armor commander turned around and walked directly toward Sun Hao. Stop! There was a soft shout. Who? A stick came and directly blocked the way of the golden armor commander. What do you want to do? Six-eared macaque looked coldly at the golden armor commander. The golden armor commander's face did not change, calmly looking at six-eared macaque. He slightly clasped his fist and said, "This brother, I am ordered by the One-Punch Rakshasa to invite you to go to my house for a chat. I have something important to discuss with you." Go to my house for a chat? Bring so many people here? I, old son, think you are up to no good. If you want to see my young master, let that One-Punch Rakshasa come in person, Six-eared macaque said. As soon as these words came out, the air around was stagnant. Time seemed to freeze. Everyone's movements were surprisingly similar. That kind of stupor and disbelief was written on everyone's face. No way? The mysterious young master's men are so powerful? My God, this is the territory of the One-Punch Rakshasa. No one can withstand a punch from him. Yeah, isn't he afraid that the One-Punch Rakshasa will come in person? It's over now. Those who dare to ask the One-Punch Rakshasa are basically dead. Such voices resounded all around. You mean you want the One-Punch Rakshasa to come see you? The golden armor commander confirmed again. He, six-eared macaque smiled coldly and pointed at the golden armor commander with his stick. Are you deaf, or did I not say it clearly? My young master is not someone you can see just because you want to. Six-eared macaque's voice was cold. The corner of the golden armor commander's mouth twitched slightly, and his face was livid. Being watched by so many people, it was not only his own face that was lost, but also the face of Haotian Palace. The palace master said that there was a terrifying figure behind Haotian Palace. That was a supreme existence. Being threatened like this by that hairy monkey, was that not a loss of face for that supreme existence? If he showed weakness, wouldn't the palace master beat him up if he knew about this? However, the strength of that mysterious young master is not simple. I still have to be careful. It's best to inform the palace master about this first. The golden armor commander thought to himself and made a decision. He glanced at them, and immediately 2 golden armor guards left the team and left quickly. Soon, the 2 disappeared from everyone's sight. Six-eared macaque completely ignored this scene. He looked at the golden armor commander with a smile. It seems that you still have some self-awareness and know to call the one-punch Rakshasa over. As soon as this was said, everyone's expression changed. What? He went to call the one-punch Rakshasa. It seems that there's going to be a good show. Good show my ass. The one-punch Rakshasa kills without batting an eye. Offending him means death. Let's stay away. If we get too close, it will make the one-punch Rakshasa angry. Chapter 494. Humph, since you know how powerful our palace lord is, then come with me obediently. The golden-armored commander looked at the six-eared macaque and said, Come with you. The six-eared macaque smiled coldly. What is the Rakshasa punch? Worthy? Silence. Very quiet. Deathly silence. Everyone stared blankly at the six-eared macaque, shocked. What is the Rakshasa punch? Don't you know how terrifying he is? The Rakshasa punch appeared a month ago. So far, no one in the entire Shadow Realm could withstand his punch. That was an undefeated legend. How dare you say he is nothing? Do you have a death wish? It's over. How can the Rakshasa punch let him go? My God, this time there will be a war in the Hautian Palace. The mysterious young master will definitely fight. We'd better stay away from this kind of battle. The onlookers involuntarily retreated away from Sun Hao and the others. Sun Hao's expression changed slightly when he heard the six-eared macaque's words. He did not expect this monkey to be so fierce. This was really drawing hatred for himself. But things had come to this point, and there was no room for negotiation. He could only take one step at a time. He hoped that the Rakshasa punch was not too strong and could not beat him. Thinking like this, Sun Hao withdrew his emotions and looked at the golden-armored commander. He saw. The golden-armored commander's mouth twitched slightly as he looked coldly at the six-eared macaque. How dare you insult the palace lord? The golden-armored commander shouted and rushed straight at the six-eared macaque. The moment the golden-armored commander made his move, more than 100 golden-armored guards all moved. They picked up their spears and ran quickly, forming a circle, instantly surrounding the six-eared macaque. Whoosh! The golden-armored commander's body blurred, and the spear in his hand stabbed at the six-eared macaque like a dragon. The six-eared macaque's expression did not change when he saw this scene. The moment he was about to rush over, he raised his fist and punched. Boom! There was a loud noise. The golden-armored commander's body staggered back, and it took a lot of time for him to stabilize his figure. He looked at the spear in his hand and could not help but widen his eyes. He saw that the spear had been bent, and the entire spearhead had been blasted into powder. This scene directly stunned everyone on the spot. My God, Commander Mo Chu's spear was shattered by a single punch? That's a middle-grade divine artifact. Unbelievable! Unimaginable! This physical body is comparable to a high-grade divine artifact. The strength of the mysterious young master is too strong. Cries of surprise rang out continuously. Everyone looked at Six-Eared Macaque with admiration. The corner of Six-Eared Macaque's mouth curled up, revealing a look of disdain. That's all you've got, and you dare to come out and embarrass yourself? You! The golden-armored commander's chest tightened, and he was powerless to reply. Anger was rampaging in his chest, as if it was about to explode. Today, I'll fight it out with you. The golden armor commander roared angrily and charged at the six-eared macaque. Hee, the six-eared macaque smiled. He extended a finger and flicked it at the golden armor commander's fist. Buzz, the air trembled, and the waves of air parted. The golden-armored commander's body was like a kite with a broken string. It tumbled through the waves and crashed heavily into the ground. After struggling for a while, he stood up with great difficulty. The golden armor commander's eyes were bloodshot, and his anger had burned away all reason. Without any hesitation, the golden armor commander once again rushed toward the six-eared macaque. The next second, bang, a loud noise. The golden armor commander fell heavily to the ground. This time, he broke a few ribs. However, the golden armor commander stood up again and went straight to the six-eared macaque. Just like that, the golden armor commander kept pouncing toward the six-eared macaque. At the same time, he quickly fell to the ground. It looked like a pinball. A moment later, the golden armor commander fell to the ground, unable to stand up again. The six-eared macaque smiled at the golden armor commander and walked toward him step by step. "Now, do you have anything to say?" The six-eared macaque stood in front of the golden armor commander and looked down at him. "You!" The golden armor commander's chest was stagnant, and he had nothing to say. "It seems that you have nothing to say. If that's the case, then die." After that, the six-eared macaque raised his fist, aimed at the golden armor commander, and punched. The terrifying power made the golden armor commander's scalp go numb, and he showed a look of despair. He closed his eyes and quietly waited for death. The fist was about to hit the golden armor commander's head. At this moment, "Stop!" A loud voice rang through the sky. His voice shook the heavens and the earth. A terrifying aura rushed toward everyone. A light flashed. Boom! A loud noise. The world shook. The six-eared macaque's body stepped back, and he looked at the person with a solemn face. Only to see, standing in front of the six-eared macaque was a golden armor man. His bulging muscles looked like they were going to break the man's armor. Just by standing there, he gave people a feeling that he was unshakable. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the golden armor man. The golden armor man looked at the six-eared macaque, and his expression changed slightly. This guy could actually take a punch from him, and he was not injured at all. It seemed that his strength was not simple. "You dare to kill my subordinate. Today you will die without a doubt." The golden armor man stared at the six-eared macaque, and his cold, killing intent was not concealed. He walked step by step toward the six-eared macaque. Soon, he stood in front of the six-eared macaque. When he was about to kill him, the golden armor man raised his eyebrows. He glanced at Sun Hao's location and suddenly widened his eyes, showing a look of disbelief. This, his voice trembled and he looked excited. Without any hesitation, he rushed toward Sun Hao. When the six-eared macaque saw it, his face changed drastically. He quickly took out the iron rod and aimed it at the back of the golden armor man's head. "Six-eared, don't!" A sound rang in the six-eared macaque's ears. The six-eared macaque hurriedly stopped, and the iron rod was only half an inch away from the back of the golden armor man's head. Tap tap, the golden armor man's speed did not decrease, and he quickly ran toward Sun Hao. Such a scene scared everyone to the point of stupefaction. "It's over," the Rakshasa fist directly attacked the mysterious young master. If this punch goes down, can the mysterious young master take it? That's hard to say. Not everyone can take a punch from the Rakshasa fist. Didn't the mysterious young master catch it just now? That's true. Let's wait and see who will win this time. All the cultivators' eyes were fixed on the golden armor man, motionless. However, the next second everyone was stunned in place. Everyone showed an incredible expression. That kind of shock and disbelief could not be described in words. They saw. Plop, a sound rang out. The golden armor man directly knelt in front of Sun Hao, and his body was extremely excited. The tears in the corner of his eyes slipped down unconsciously. "Young master, it's you." The golden armor man knelt in front of Sun Hao and performed 3 kneels and 9 kowtows. Sun Hao looked at the golden armor man and smiled slightly. "Get up." "Thank you, young master." The golden armor man stood in front of Sun Hao, showing an extremely respectful expression. Chapter 495. The whole scene was silent. Everyone's eyes were wide open and they were shocked. What's going on? One Punch Demon actually kneels down to the mysterious young master? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? He is so respectful to the mysterious young master. What the hell is going on? Exclamations of doubt continued to ring out. The whole scene exploded, and for a while, it couldn't calm down at all. Palace Master? The golden-armored commander, at this moment, also stared blankly at the one-punch demon, looking stunned. Emochu, hurry up and come over! His soft shout startled the golden-armored leader. He struggled to stand up, blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and he couldn't stand up at all. It seemed that the injury was not light. 6 ears, the person was injured, help him over. Sun Hao's voice came into the ears of the 6-eared macaque. Yes, young master. The 6-eared macaque cupped his fist and saluted, supporting Emochu, and walked toward Sun Hao. Eat this, it should be fine soon. Sun Hao took out a medicinal pill and handed it to Emochu. Emochu was stunned and turned his head to look at the one-punch demon. What are you looking at me for? Young master gave it to you, you can take it if you want. One-punch demon said angrily. Emochu nodded and took Sun Hao's medicinal pill. Thank you, young master. He swallowed the medicinal pill into his abdomen. A warm current flowed through his body from the meridians. The injuries on his body recovered quickly. Not only that, but his physical strength had even improved to the next level. Emochu's eyes widened and his face was full of excitement. Without thinking about it, he knelt in front of Sun Hao and kowtowed in salute. Thank you, young master, for the gift of medicine, Emochu said. No need to be polite, Sun Hao said. After Emochu stood up, the one-punch demon came forward and pointed his finger at his forehead. How did I teach you? I asked you to invite people, but you actually fought with young master's people. I told you about young master, have you forgotten? One-punch demon said. As soon as these words came out, Emochu raised his eyebrows and seemed to think of something. He looked at the one-punch demon, and his eyes widened. Palace Master, do you mean that the support behind our Haotian palace is the mysterious young master? Yes. One-punch demon nodded heavily. Emochu took a few breaths and knelt in front of Sun Hao again. Patriarch, I have eyes but failed to see and offended you. Please forgive me. His voice wasn't loud, but it was clearly heard by everyone. Surprise, disbelief, shock, all kinds of expressions changed on many people's faces. My God, the mysterious young master is the old ancestor of the Haotian palace? No wonder any of his subordinates are so terrifying. Fortunately, I didn't find trouble with the mysterious young master. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. This is too scary. Even the Supreme Heaven Palace old ancestor has come into being. Cries of surprise could be heard. Sun Hao looked at the one-punch Rakshasa. No, it should be more accurate to say that it was one Rincher. He could not help but be puzzled. Get up, there's no need for formalities. Sit down together, Sun Hao said. Many thanks, young master. The two sat in front of Sun Hao. Old one, what is going on? Sun Hao asked. Young master, it's a long story. After I left the Purple Sun Star that day, I returned to my home planet. Because of the good fortune he obtained from you, he easily killed all his enemies. Not long after, I was wrapped in an inexplicable powerful force and sent here. So, I built the Haotian palace here, starting with your name. You won't blame me, right? When Rensher said one sentence at a time, telling everything that had happened to him recently. Sun Hao listened to this and frowned slightly. Inexplicable power? Can you feel what it is? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I can't feel it at all. When Rensher shook his head. Inexplicable power sent When Rensher here? What was the reason? Did he know that he was coming here and sent him here to wait for him? It didn't make sense. Old one, you just sent Emochu to invite us. What's the matter? Sun Hao asked. I almost forgot about this. Young master, I sent Emochu to invite everyone because I want to gather the power of the entire Shadow Realm and go to the Tomb of God together to explore it. As far as I know, this Shadow Realm is divided into 2 layers. In fact, our location is only the outer layer. The power of primordial chaos here is extremely difficult to find. In the second layer, it is much easier. The primordial chaos chi is extremely strong and of higher quality. Of course, it is also more dangerous. One Rincher said. You mean, this tomb of God is the entrance to the second layer? Sun Hao asked. Yes. One Rincher nodded. He looked around, lowered his voice, and continued, Young Master, not long ago, I sensed an invisible golden light impact the shadow realm and finally disappeared in the tomb of God. If I'm not wrong, it must be the power of the heavenly realm. This second layer, there must be people from the heavenly realm who entered. One Rincher said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. No wonder he didn't see the heavenly realm. It turned out that they all went to the second layer. This was a little interesting. Okay, let's go to the second layer. Sun Hao nodded. Yes, young master. Shall we go in now? One Rincher asked. Don't you need to open it tomorrow? Sun Hao asked. One Rincher smiled awkwardly. Young master, this is just me deceiving others. The tomb of God doesn't need to be opened at all, you can go in directly. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded slightly. His eyes swept to the people around him and asked, Is everyone ready? Young master, I old Sun have been ready for a long time. I can finally see the dogs of the heavenly realm. Young master, I'm already itching to go in, you give the order, I promise to be the first to rush in. Young master, we are all ready. Seeing everyone's expression, Sun Hao stood up and looked at One Rincher. Old One, you arranged to bring 2 people in. Yes, young master. One Rincher looked at Imo Chu. You count as 1 and call Fan Ben over. Yes, palace master. Imo Chu left quickly. Soon after, he brought a bearded man. Young master, we are all here. One Rincher said. And Sun Hao looked at the dozen people in front of him and took the lead to walk forward. Let's go. More than a dozen people followed behind Sun Hao, and under everyone's stunned gaze, they strode into the tomb of God and disappeared. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyeballs. Go in, all go in. The tomb of God doesn't need to be opened, what are you waiting for? Rush! Whoever rushes in the fastest will get the primordial chaos chi. The onlookers, like a torrent, rushed straight to the tomb of God. The tomb of God, like a big mouth, swallowed everyone and disappeared. How can we go in? Tian Huang looked at this scene, opened his mouth, and then quickly rushed into the tomb of God with a group of subordinate. Chapter 496. This is... Sun Hao looked at the dim sky and could not help but frown slightly. The second layer of the shadow realm was darker than the first layer. Hoo! The sound of the wind was constant, blowing on the body, making people feel pain. Sun Hao secretly used the power of the formation, and his face changed slightly. He found that the power of the formation could not be used. All of his abilities seemed to have been sealed. Now, the only thing that could be used was the physical body. Dong dong! Suddenly, Sun Hao's chest throbbed, and his heart beat violently. A wave of discomfort surged all over his body. Sun Hao pressed his chest, sweat rolled down, and his face was pale. Come on, come on! Bursts of calls sounded in his mind again. Young master, are you okay? Everyone gathered around and looked at Sun Hao with a worried face. Sun Hao waved his hand, indicating that he was fine. He looked in one direction, showing a dignified face. In this place, he could hear the call again. What was it? He had to go and see. I'm fine. After taking a few deep breaths, Sun Hao calmed down a little. He looked at Six-Eared Macaque and the others, showing a serious face. Let's separate here. Hearing this, everyone's faces changed slightly, showing a puzzled look. Young master, why? Let us go with you? Sun Hao shook his head slightly. You can't help where I'm going. You might even become a burden to me. You go find the primordial chaos chi. Improve your strength as soon as possible, that's the most important thing. Sun Hao said. Looking at Sun Hao's serious appearance, everyone nodded in unison. Yes, young master. Okay, I'm leaving. After speaking, Sun Hao took a step, leaving an afterimage, and disappeared into the gray mist. After Sun Hao disappeared for a long time, everyone calmed down. Now, what should we do? Thunder Tribulation Lord asked. This is not simple, everyone together will be the strongest. Facing the people of the heavenly realm, we also have the power to fight. Six-eared Macaque said. It makes sense, I agree. Qian Su nodded. Since everyone is together, someone must take the lead. I think this matter will be left to Miss Qian Su. Thunder Tribulation Lord said. When Qian Su heard this, she immediately waved her hand. This little girl is too weak to take on such a great responsibility. Miss Qian Su, don't be modest, I also agree. One Rincher said. That's right. You're the closest to the young master, and your strength has improved the fastest over the past few days. No one will object to you taking over. Yes, that's right. Qian Su nodded slightly when she saw everyone's expression. All right, I'll take on the role. Qian Su stared ahead with a solemn expression. Everyone, follow me, let's head in that direction. Qian Su said. Yes. Everyone quickly followed Qian Su. Soon, they disappeared into the gray fog. Dong dong. Dong dong. Dong. Sun Hao pressed his chest and walked forward step by step. His heart beat rhythmically, stopping every 2 beats. Every time it jumped, it would cause his body to tremble. That uncomfortable feeling surged through his whole body. Phew, Sun Hao panted heavily and ran quickly in the passage of the tomb chamber. The more he went forward, the stronger the uncomfortable feeling became. Howl, suddenly, Sun Hao's figure stagnated, looking ahead, showing a dignified expression. He saw that in front of him was a tomb chamber. In the tomb chamber, the gray fog surged, blocking the line of sight. In the gray fog, 2 blood-red eyes were staring at Sun Hao. This stare. Sun Hao's body trembled, and his hair stood on end. Not good. Without any hesitation, Sun Hao quickly retreated. However, before retreating 2 steps, Sun Hao hurriedly stopped his figure. He saw, behind him, a monster with a dragon's head and a lion's body was walking towards him step by step. 2 blood-red eyes stared like copper bells. Howl, a roar like a dragon's roar. A strong wind like a sharp knife blew on Sun Hao's body. Deng deng, Sun Hao's body stepped straight back, standing in place, and his pupils contracted. How strong his physical body was! He had no bottom. However, such a monster was able to repel him with a single roar. The strength was unimaginable. And there were as many as 8 such monsters. 8 dragon-headed monsters surrounded him in all directions, with blood-red eyes, with a breathtaking cold light. That kind of desire for flesh and blood was not concealed. Howl, the 8 dragon-headed monsters roared at the same time. Hoo! A tornado whistled and blew Sun Hao off the ground in an instant. Not good. Sun Hao gritted his teeth and punched out. Boom! Boom! Every punch tore through space and caused the tornadoes to rumble. Boom! With a bang, the tornado burst open. Sun Hao's body fell straight to the ground, and his face was covered with dust. Howl, a dragon-headed monster, didn't wait for Sun Hao to react. With a kick of its limbs, it jumped up and rushed straight to Sun Hao. Just in time. Sun Hao snorted coldly, raised his fist, and punched at the dragon-headed monster. Boom! It was as if the punch had landed on a piece of divine metal, and a dull sound rang out. The dragon-headed monster's power was blown away by Sun Hao's punch, and it rolled a few times on the ground before stabilizing. Woo! The dragon-headed monster shook its head and struggled for a long time before standing up. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao looked startled, and he couldn't help but widen his eyes, full of disbelief. His full blow only caused a minor injury to the dragon-headed monster. How was this possible? Then how strong was this dragon-headed monster? At this point, Sun Hao's face was solemn. It looks like a fierce battle, come on. Sun Hao's right leg kicked, and his body was like a cannonball. He rushed to the dragon-headed monster that had just stood up, pressed its head with one hand and punched down. Boom! Boom! The loud noise continued. The dragon-headed monster's head gradually flattened. In the end, the head was completely deformed, and it fell heavily to the ground. After twitching a few times, there was no movement. Howl, when the other 7 dragon-headed monsters saw this scene, they let out a roar, took a step, and rushed toward Sun Hao. Sun Hao turned around and went straight to a dragon-headed monster. Boom! He stepped on the dragon-headed monster's body, heavily trampled the dragon-headed monster into the ground, raised his fist, and attacked frantically. Pucci, the other dragon-headed monsters, stretched out their sharp claws and attacked Sun Hao's back frantically, drawing shallow scars from time to time. Sun Hao ignored the scene on his back and continued to wave his fists and attack frantically. Boom! Boom! After a breath, another dragon-headed monster was blasted to the ground. Sun Hao turned back, pressed a dragon-headed monster again, and attacked frantically. In this way, under Sun Hao's crazy attack, all the dragon-headed monsters were killed. He stood in place, gasping for breath. Looking at his body, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The clothes on his body were completely torn. This was a top-grade divine artifact, but it was torn so easily. These dragon-headed monsters were really not simple. Withdrawing his mood, Sun Hao stepped forward and continued to move forward. Quack! Suddenly, a strange cry came from the front. Chapter 497. Quack! Suddenly, a burst of duck calls came from the front. When Sun Hao heard these sounds, he couldn't help but look startled. Is it the 9 Heavens God Luan? Sun Hao looked ahead with a dignified face. Emboldened, Sun Hao continued to move forward. After a while, he stood in place. Looking at the scene in front of him, his anger surging. He saw. In the tomb room ahead, 8 iron chains came out from the stone walls on all sides, directly penetrating a 9 Heavens God Luan, binding it in the air. The golden light burst out with shocking power, drilled from the iron chain, and submerged into the 9 Heavens God Luan's body. Quack! Every time the light penetrated its body, the 9 Heavens God Luan let out a miserable scream. A few strands of blood spurted from its mouth, dripped to the ground, and disappeared into the ancient array patterns. This 9 Heavens God Luan was Ingyu. Ingyu also seemed to sense Sun Hao's arrival and opened his eyes with difficulty. When it saw Sun Hao, it was surprised at first, then happy, and finally became extremely frightened. Master, quickly retreat. It will be too late if you wait any longer. Ingyu squeezed out all his strength and shouted frantically. Sun Hao stood in place and had no intention of retreating. He took a step and ran forward quickly. Grabbing a golden iron chain, he pulled it hard. Buzz! The entire stone wall buzzed as if it was about to explode. Master, don't worry about me, you run. This is a trap for you. It will be too late if you wait any longer. Master, run! Ingyu shouted loudly. However, a laugh rang out. This hollow sound was faintly discernible, as if it was ringing in the soul. It was exceptionally strange. Sun Hao looked for the sound, and his pupils shrank slightly. He saw. Behind him, a white skeleton stood there. Above the white bones, there was a ray of brilliance, and it looked white and flawless. The skull of the white bones was full of flesh and blood. However, there was no skin. Blood vessels were all over his head. It was hideous and terrifying, making people's scalp numb. He grinned, and a rotten egg smell filled the entire tomb, making people's stomachs turn. Sun Hao quickly held his breath. Little fellow, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. After countless years, this day has finally come. The skeletal monster muttered to itself, revealing a look of reminiscence. Humph! Sun Hao snorted coldly, his figure flickered, and instantly disappeared in place. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the skeleton monster. Without any hesitation, Zhang Xian raised his fist and punched out. Boom! A dull sound rang out. Sun Hao's body flew out uncontrollably and hit the ground heavily. Bang! There was an explosion. Cracks appeared on the ground. Few wisps of nine-colored light drilled out of the cracks and fluttered above Sun Hao's head like fireflies. Sun Hao struggled to get up and looked at these nine-colored lights. He didn't care about the pain coming from his body at all. He stared at these nine-colored lights with wide eyes. Primordial chaos energy? Not only was Sun Hao surprised, but even Yu also let out an exclamation. So the primordious energy is down here. If I can get my hands on it, I will definitely recover my peak strength. Yu muttered to himself, and his eyes bloomed with a strange light. Sure enough, only you can open the passage here. My primordial chaos energy. The skeleton monster's eyes widened, showing a look of disbelief. Subsequently, the skeleton monster showed a ruthless look. Want to take my primordial chaos energy? Dream on. The skeleton monster waved its right hand, and Sun Hao's body flew out uncontrollably and slammed into the ground. Boom! Boom! The sound of explosions continued, and countless primordial chaos energy flew out from the ground and circled around the skeleton monster. ZZ, after the primordial chaos energy drilled into the skeleton monster's body, it entered its chest cavity. The heart condensed and formed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than a moment it formed a blood-red heart. Dong dong, as the heart beat, blood vessels quickly condensed. In the blink of an eye, it covered the whole body. ZZ, the speed of the primordial chaos energy drilled in was getting faster and faster. The flesh and blood on the skeleton monster's body piled up at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than a moment, it became a skinless humanoid monster. Ha ha! The skinless monster looked up to the sky and laughed crazily. The voice was long and lingered in the chamber for a long time. Yu's face changed dramatically when he saw this scene. This strength has reached the God King realm. Master is restricted. I'm afraid he is not its opponent at all. It's over, we're all finished. The Dark Age is coming ahead of schedule. Yu muttered to himself, and his face was full of despair. Boom! At the moment when the skinless monster laughed, Sun Hao drilled out from the ground. The clothes on his whole body had been torn to pieces. From the looks of it, he looked like a savage. Who are you? Sun Hao looked at the skinless monster and asked. Ha ha! The skinless monster looked up to the sky and laughed crazily. It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that I will immediately devour your flesh and blood and inherit everything you have. At that time, the whole world will be mine. Ha ha! The wild laughter didn't calm down for a long time. He looked at Sun Hao and walked toward him step by step. Seeing that he was about to walk in front of Sun Hao. At this time, he is it? A laugh sounded. Hearing this sound, the skinless monster's head exploded. Looking at the person in front of him, he couldn't help but frown slightly, and a touch of fear flashed. Even Sun Hao was slightly stunned at this moment, and he didn't know what was going on. He saw, in front of the skinless monster, a little loli appeared out of nowhere. The little loli looked 14 or 15, and she was wearing a pink dress. A fragrance from her body spread throughout the tomb, suppressing the stench of the skinless monster. Smelling this fragrance, Sun Hao frowned slightly, and his face was full of disbelief. Could she be? These fragrances smelled quite familiar. He looked at the little loli in front of him, and the corner of his mouth slightly raised. Didn't you already? The skinless monster's voice trembled, and it revealed a look of disbelief. I'm not dead, am I? The little loli smiled slightly, revealing an innocent smile. She walked toward the skinless monster step by step, and every step made the skinless monster's body tremble. A small tiny blood spirit also dares to attack my master. What? The skinless monster's eyes widened, and it revealed a look of disbelief. You actually recognize," before it finished speaking. Bang, a slap came over. The huge body of the skinless monster instantly collapsed, turning into a pile of minced meat and scattered around. Sun Hao's eyes widened, and he stared blankly at the scene in front of him with a look of disbelief. The little lowly smiled slightly, walked in front of Sun Hao, and bowed to him. "Master." This scene once again scared Sun Hao silly. Chapter 498. The little lowly in front of him actually had such terrifying strength. This was simply inconceivable. Such an expert actually called him master? If he hadn't heard it with his own ears, he wouldn't have believed it. "What did you call me just now?" Sun Hao asked. "Master." The little lowly stood in front of Sun Hao, walked forward, and hugged Sun Hao's arm. "Master, you've finally finished cultivating as a mortal. My sister and I have been waiting for you for a long time." The little lowly kept rubbing her chest on Sun Hao's arm, not minding the difference between men and women. Although she looked like a Lolita, her breasts did not lose to Xue Mei in the slightest. A strange feeling came from his arm, making Sun Hao feel restless for a while. How can such a little lowly have such thoughts? He shook his head and hurriedly suppressed the restlessness in his heart. "You are?" Sun Hao asked. "Master, my name is Xiaofang. I have a cherry blossom tree in front of your house. Smell it. Isn't it the fragrance of cherry blossoms?" The little lowly rushed forward and pressed Sun Hao's head into her chest. In front of the little lowly's great strength, how could Sun Hao struggle? He could only take a deep breath. Phew! The fragrance of cherry blossoms wafted into one's nostrils, making one feel refreshed. The pain in his body disappeared in just a day. "Master, how is it? Does it smell good?" The little lowly revealed a look of anticipation. "Fragrant." Sun Hao nodded. Even if it wasn't fragrant, he wouldn't dare to say it. "Great. Master said it smells good." The little lowly jumped up. It was as if he had obtained a peerless treasure. "You'd better call me young master, that's a little better," Sun Hao said. "Yes, master. Young master." Fang nodded and said with a smile. "Young master, is Sister Qinglian here? Why don't we do double cultivation?" Xiao Fang looked at Sun Hao with a serious face. As soon as these words came out, Sun Hao looked startled. This little girl talking about dual cultivation at the drop of a hat. Do you know what dual cultivation is? "Young master, why are you looking at me like that? In the past, you were the one who took the initiative to find us for dual cultivation. This time, Xiaofeng took the initiative, and you're still not happy." Xiao Fang looked at Sun Hao with tears brewing in her eyes. The slightest mistake would cause tears to fall. Sun Hao listened to this, and beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. He didn't expect that he was such a scumbag in his previous life. Based on Xiaofeng's words, there must be quite a few people cultivating together. "Young master, come on, let's dual cultivate first." Xiao Fang stepped forward and picked up Sun Hao's underwear to pull it off. "Sage Fang, I have nothing to say if you want to dual cultivate with master, but please put me down first." A discordant voice broke the silence. Hearing this, Xiaofeng's face reddened. She retracted her outstretched hand as if she had been electrocuted. "I actually forgot about you." With a point of Xiao Fang's right hand, the chains that ran through Inyu's body all broke apart. Inyu shook his body and turned into a woman. He walked to Sun Hao and bowed. "Greetings, master." There was no sign of injury at all. "You can call me young master too," Sun Hao said. "Yes." Inyu nodded. Sun Hao looked at the two women with a serious face. "Is all this a scheme you used?" "Yes, young master." Xiao Fang nodded. Then, he sighed inwardly, "However, I've only caught a few small fish. The real big fish haven't taken the bait yet." "Big fish? What big fish?" Sun Hao asked. "Young master, please listen to the details first." Xiao Fang waved her right hand, took out a few chairs and stools, and asked Sun Hao to sit down. Young master, tell me all this. You haven't recovered your memory yet, and many things may not be clear. 1,000,000 years ago there was a dark turmoil. You should have heard of it, right? Xiao Feng asked. And Sun Hao nodded. Is it the Dark Age? Yes. During that time, people called it the Dark Age. It was simply the end of the gods. Countless deities have fallen, including us. That battle practically caused the universe to collapse and the galaxy to be destroyed. If it weren't for you sacrificing your life, the dark taboo would have been sealed in the deep pit of the universe. Hearing this, Sun Hao couldn't help but widen his eyes. Dark taboo? Sun Hao asked. Yes, dark creatures are all led by the dark taboo. Who is the dark taboo? No one has seen it. In the world, only one person has seen it, and that is you, Xiao Feng said. Me? Sun Hao showed a bitter smile. Now that he lost his memory, how could he remember anything? It seemed that no one would know who the dark taboo was. What happened later? Sun Hao asked. Later, your life was consumed, and your strength was sealed everywhere in the world. And your soul directly entered the sea of reincarnation and began to reincarnate. Xiao Feng said one sentence at a time, expressing the doubts in Sun Hao's heart. Listening to this, Sun Hao nodded slightly. What does that Dao Qingyang have to do with the dark taboo? Sun Hao asked. Dao Qingyang? Xiao Feng showed a look of reminiscence, then raised her eyebrows. Dao Qingyang is your right-hand man, and you are a friend of life and death. It was because he blocked the strongest move of the dark taboo that you had the chance to sacrifice your life and seal the dark taboo. However, after blocking that attack, Dao Qingyang will also die. Xiao Feng said. Dao Qingyang is not himself, but another person? Brother? Blocked the strongest move of the dark taboo? Then what is my identity? Sun Hao thought secretly, looked at Xiao Feng and asked, Then what is my identity? Young master, you are the strongest Tao ancestor. Also the celestial emperor. The 3 realms are under your command. Xiao Feng said. So awesome? The corner of Sun Hao's mouth raised slightly. He didn't expect that his identity was like heaven and earth. What about that Dao Qingyang? Sun Hao asked. He has strength no weaker than you. He established a sect called Jie sect, which has many ancient powers. He is called the Dao Master by the world. Xiao Feng said. Sun Hao nodded slightly and continued. Then why does my heart beat irregularly? There is a kind of call in my ear. Can you know? Call? Xiao Feng frowned, showing a thoughtful look. Young master, if I'm not wrong, these calls must be your own. The strength you left everywhere in the universe is sealed in these places. As long as you go in person, you will obtain these powers and let you return to the peak. Xiao Feng said. It makes sense. Sun Hao nodded slightly, his eyes blooming with a strange light. So, there is the power I left here. Yes. This is what you left, no one can go in. Xiao Feng pointed to the front and said. Okay, then I'll go in first. Sun Hao said. Young master, wait. Xiao Feng pulled Sun Hao's arm and said. Chapter 499. Xiaofeng, what's wrong? Sun Hao asked. Young master, if you enter, you might not be able to come out for a while. I have a few things to ask you. Many of the Heaven Realm's lackeys have barged in. How do you think we should deal with them? After speaking, Xiaofeng waved her right hand, and a picture appeared in front of Sun Hao. In the image, a young man with 2 buns of hair on his head was striding forward, chasing after a wisp of primordial chaos chi. Seeing this young man, Sun Hao's eyes flashed. Neza? Sun Hao exclaimed. Young master, have you recovered your memory? Xiao Feng's eyes shone with a strange light. No. Sun Hao shook his head slightly. Do you know him? Xiao Feng asked. It's a long story. Sun Hao said. Young master, how do you think we should deal with him? Xiaofeng waved her right hand. Buzz, in the image, vines surged from all directions and pounced straight at Neza. Neza's expression changed when he saw those vines, and he didn't hesitate to swing his spear. Boom! With a loud bang, Neza's perlicue went numb, and his body staggered back. He stood rooted to the ground, his eyes wide open in disbelief. This scene directly scared him silly. The strength of his physical body was simply unimaginable. Who would have thought that an all-out attack would be unable to break these vines? While Neza was still in a daze, the vines came quickly and tied him up on the spot. No matter how he struggled, it was useless. This is impossible. Neza kept shaking his head, unwilling to believe what he saw. It wasn't until the immense force that came from his body made him grimace in pain that he recovered. Let go of me. If you have the guts, let's fight fair and square. Hiding behind the scenes and restraining me like this, what kind of hero is that? Neza kept roaring. His voice echoed in the air. Hearing this, Sun Hao couldn't help grinning. He didn't expect to see the legendary Neza here. Moreover, he was in such a sorry state. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, how could he have believed it? Young master, do you want to kill him? Xiao Feng asked. Kill him? Why did you kill him? Sun Hao looked puzzled. Young master, he is the lackey of the current Sky Emperor. If it wasn't for the celestial arch, we wouldn't have perished. Xiao Feng revealed a look of resentment. Xiao Feng, don't kill for no reason. Can't we turn enemies into friends? At this time, another little girl appeared in front of Sun Hao, hugged Sun Hao's left arm and said with a smile, You have to learn more from young master, have a calm mind, and deal with the next dark era, so that you can have the confidence to win. To dare make an enemy of the young master, kill, kill. Xiao Feng said. Watching these two little Lolas sing one after another, for a while, Sun Hao was stunned in place. Unexpectedly, the two of them looked exactly the same. Even Sun Hao couldn't tell. You are? Sun Hao looked at Xiaofun and asked. Young master, my name is Xiaofun, I'm your maid. You love to dual cultivate with the two of us the most. Young master, can you remember a little? Xiaofun looked at Sun Hao with a blushing face, shy and beautiful. Yes, young master. Xiao Feng took Sun Hao's right arm and said. Hearing this, Sun Hao's forehead turned black. This was simply the highest grade of scum. Extremely speechless. Forget it, it was what he did in his previous life, and it had nothing to do with him. Young master, Sister Qinglian is not here. Why don't the three of us dual cultivate? Xiao Fun said. Yes, young master, the three of us dual cultivate together, happy and fast. Xiao Feng said. Young master, you love the three of us dual cultivate together the most. Young master, let me help you. One on the left and one on the right, surrounded by fragrance. Even if it was a flower master, he was afraid that it would be uncomfortable. Inyu looked at this scene, smiled, and shook his head. His figure flashed, and he disappeared in place instantly. Watching the two women undressing, Sun Hao's face changed slightly. They just met, and they wanted to dual cultivate with him. How could he? Let's not talk about this first. I'd better get my inheritance first. Sun Hao broke away from the two women and ran forward. Young master, do we still kill Neza and the others? Xiao Feng shouted. Don't touch them, trap them first, wait for me to come back and then make a decision. Sun Hao said. Young master, wait, remove the seal on your body first. Xiao Feng shouted. Seal. Sun Hao stood in place, looking puzzled. Yes. Xiao Feng ran forward, stretched out her right hand and grabbed forward. Buzz, the air trembled. A bead flowing with 9-colored light was grabbed out of the void. Above the bead, 9 dark and deep holes appeared on it. Inside the hole, there seemed to be a dragon god about to break out of it, which made people shudder. The moment Sun Hao looked at this bead, he couldn't help but look sluggish. 9 orifice dragon divine bead? Why is it in your hands? Sun Hao asked. Xiao Fun smiled slightly, looked at Sun Hao and said, Because this thing is ours. What? Sun Hao was startled, showing a trace of disbelief. Are you the Moon Lord, the creator of this shadow realm? Yes. Seeing the two women nodding, Sun Hao showed a thoughtful look. Killing all the way, he didn't expect that it turned out to be his own people's territory. This was too funny. So, in the last Dark Age, you two died under the Dark Taboo? Sun Hao asked. Of course not. Xiao Fang shook her head for a while. Young master, after you sacrificed your life, you killed all the Dark Taboo subordinates, and we were lucky to survive. However, when we returned to the Heavenly Emperor Palace, what awaited us was a killing calamity. The current Heavenly Emperor, Shi Wudao, set up a big plan to kill us. If you didn't give us the 9-orifice dragon pearl, I'm afraid our souls would have been scattered, and it would have been impossible to recover. At this point, Xiao Fang's killing intent rose, and her face was full of anger. There's such a thing. Sun Hao patted Xiao Fang on the shoulder, his face full of anger. Don't worry, I will eradicate this Shi Wudao. However, there's still one thing I don't understand. Since he has this ability, I'm afraid it's extremely easy for him to destroy your souls. Why didn't he care? Sun Hao asked. Young master, although Shi Wudao had laid out a trap, he was a coward. He was afraid that the power you left behind would kill him, so he used the Bell of Suppressing Universe to divide the universe into 3 realms: heaven, earth, and man. At the same time, he set up layers of restrictions to prevent people from going to the heaven realm. Moreover, these years, Shi Wudao's strength has become unfathomable. He is waiting for an opportunity. Young master, the next road is very difficult. We not only have to deal with the Dark Taboo, but also with Shi Wudao. Hearing this, Sun Hao showed a look of realization. He didn't expect things to be so complicated. Do you know the 2 cosmic giants? Sun Hao asked. Cosmic giants? The 2 women looked at Sun Hao with a dumbfounded face. Chapter 500. Looking at the dumbfounded expressions of the 2 women, Sun Hao shook his head secretly. From the looks of it, the 2 of them did not know about the cosmic giant. What kind of existences were those 2 space giants? Compared to the taboo of darkness, which one was stronger? Although many things had been clarified, the road ahead had become even more hazy. Young master, what 2 universe giants? Xiao Fang asked. It's like this, Sun Hao told him about his encounter with the cosmic giant. Hearing this, the 2 women frowned in deep thought. Young master, we've never heard of this either. Since you can see it in your dream, it must be true, Pan said. Since the young master has given us his instructions, let us remove the restriction on the young master's body. The 2 women waved their right hands at the same time, and the dragon god beads lit up with 9-colored divine light. Kacha, the seal enveloping Sun Hao's body, instantly shattered. At this moment, Sun Hao could feel that all his strength could be used, and everything returned to normal. With a thought, he enveloped the entire shadow realm. Young master here. Xiao Fan handed the 9 orifices dragon divine pearl to Sun Hao. Sun Hao took the 9-apertured dragon divine pearl and looked at it carefully. When he sensed the terrifying energy inside, he could not help but reveal a trace of astonishment. Why give it to me? Sun Hao asked. Young master, this was originally yours, we are only keeping it for you, Xiao Fang said. All right, I'll accept it first. Sun Hao's mind moved and sank his divine sense into the 9-orifice dragon divine pearl. Buzz, a voice rang in his mind. Sun Hao sensed everything in the shadow realm. His eyes widened in surprise. Unexpectedly, this divine pearl of 9 orifices was a treasure that could control the shadow realm. With this in hand, he would be invincible in the entire shadow realm. Unless the other party had the strength to shatter the shadow realm. All right, I understand. I'll go in first. After speaking, Sun Hao rushed to the depths of the tomb. In the depths of the MO room was a door of light. Come quickly. The call grew louder and louder. Buzz, Sun Hao strode into the light gate. There was a burst of roaring in his mind, and Sun Hao only felt that the sky and earth were spinning. Soon, he lost consciousness. After an unknown period of time, Sun Hao woke up slowly. He propped himself up and looked around. This was a chaotic space without mountains or water, only a hazy and indistinct expanse of primal chaos. It looked like the world at the beginning of the universe. Few, in the surroundings, the 9-colored divine radiance danced continuously. It was like a fantasy world, extremely mystical. Primordial energy. Looking at these 9-colored divine lights, Sun Hao exclaimed. He really had seen this primordial chi somewhere before. Suddenly, Sun Hao raised his eyebrows and his eyes shone. I understand. Sun Hao's mind moved, and his consciousness sank into the soul space. His eyes widened when he saw the round 9-colored rock that was as large as a planet. It was originally 9 colors, but now it seemed to have evolved into 10 colors. Now it had completely turned into a 10-colored round stone. The 10-colored round stone released a 10-colored radiance that spread throughout the 9 heavens and 10 earth. Kacha in Sun Hao's soul space, bursts of cracking sounds sounded. Following that, stars were born out of thin air. The earth-shattering howl was simply indescribable. He actually created a star out of thin air. Sun Hao opened his mouth and stared blankly at this scene. His soul sea space actually had such a change. Buzz, suddenly there was a shock. The 9-orifice dragon divine pearl in Sun Hao's hand flew out uncontrollably and quickly fell in front of the 10-colored round stone. As the 9-colored light shone, the 9-orifice dragon divine pearl changed rapidly. Buzz, the 9-orifice dragon divine pearl grew larger and larger, and in the blink of an eye, it became the size of a planet. From a distance it looked like a planet. Howl, 9 dragon roars with a shocking roar, came from the 9-orifice dragon divine pearl. The 9 dragon gods' phantoms shrouded the universe, flew to Sun Hao and prostrated. Greetings, Master. The neat voice shook heaven and earth. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao's face showed uncontrollable surprise. The strength of these 9 dragon gods was definitely not weak. If it was estimated correctly, they even had the realm of God King. If they were cultivated again, it was not impossible to become a hierarch or even a god emperor. This time it was really a big profit. No need to be so polite, you guys find a place to live and cultivate well, Sun Hao said. When the 9 dragon gods heard this, their eyes bloomed with a strange light. They knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times to Sun Hao. Thank you, Master. They cut through the void, each found a star, and directly occupied it, waiting for the 10-colored divine light to shine. Sun Hao could clearly sense that their strength was growing rapidly. Withdrawing his gaze, Sun Hao's mind moved and instantly came to Huang Ruming's crystal coffin. Looking at the beautiful face inside, Sun Hao was lost for a while. Ruming, don't worry, I will resurrect you. It won't take long, you will wake up soon. Sun Hao stroked the crystal coffin and muttered to himself. After a long time, Sun Hao's mind returned to his body. He stood in the chaos space, and his divine sense swept around. There! Sun Hao took a step out and disappeared in place. When he appeared again, he had come to a red statue up to 10,000 meters high. Come here, I'm right here. The call came from inside the red statue. Sun Hao stood in front of the red statue and couldn't help frowning slightly. His divine sense was exhausted, but he couldn't see anything. What is this carved with? I can't see anything? Sun Hao muttered to himself with a solemn face. Rumble, suddenly, the red statue made a loud noise. 2 huge arms, as fast as lightning, grabbed Sun Hao in an instant. Sun Hao used all his strength and couldn't break free from the statue. Splitting heaven palm. 9 extreme fingers. Rumbling heaven sword technique. Various skills were used in turn, and Sun Hao was horrified to find that they did not cause any damage to the red statue. It seemed that he was like an ant trying to shake a tree, and he had no power to shake it at all. Don't struggle, this is the power I left for you. A roar came from the statue. Immediately afterward, a terrifying force rushed out of the statue's hand and went straight into Sun Hao's body. Among these forces there were also some amazing secret technique. Sun Hao gritted his teeth and screamed under the impact of these terrifying forces. His mind and body seemed to be about to be shattered, extremely uncomfortable. Sun Hao gritted his teeth and persisted, letting these forces hit his body and strengthen his soul. Not bad, I can hold on for a quarter of an hour without fainting. I didn't expect my next life to be so powerful. This seat is dead, and my soul is reincarnated and reborn as you. However, this seat will not impose memories on you, otherwise you will become me again. I'm tired, I need to rest. There are still 2 inheritances waiting for you to go. In addition, you must go to the Chaos Starfield. Listening to these voices, Sun Hao's face kept changing. Chapter 501. In the Divine Tomb of the Shadow Realm, Neza was bound by vines in midair, with only his head exposed. It looked like he was tied up like a dumpling, unable to struggle. Whoosh, a sound rang out. Several figures ran over quickly and stopped not far from Neza, sizing him up in a daze. Hearing this, Neza regained some of his senses. He looked up and his expression changed slightly. "Father, quick, run. Don't come over!" Neza shouted. The person who came was the pagoda-bearing Heavenly King, Li Jing. He held the exquisite pagoda in his hand and looked at Neza with a solemn expression. "General, let me do it." At this moment, a heavenly soldier stood up and said. After some thought, Li Jing nodded. "Okay." The heavenly soldier held a spear and stabbed at the vines on Neza's body. Neza's expression changed slightly when he saw it. "Don't come over." However, there was no time. Swoosh, the sound of something breaking through the air kept sounding. Vines drilled out from the ground, and in the blink of an eye, they bound the heavenly soldier tightly. No matter how he struggled, it was useless. Li Jing's expression changed slightly. He held the exquisite pagoda and waved his right hand. Swoosh, the exquisite pagoda let out a sound of something breaking through the air. It rotated rapidly and grew larger. It aimed at Neza and fell. Seeing this scene, Neza's eyes lit up. "Father, you can use dermic powers?" "That's right. Anyone can use it," Li Jing said. "In that case, I can use it too?" "Father, you don't have to do it. Let me do it." With a thought, the universe ring on Neza's neck spun rapidly and blasted at the surrounding vines. Boom! With an explosion, the vines that trapped Neza's body collapsed. The surroundings instantly returned to peace. All the vines disappeared without a trace. "Father!" Neza ran forward with a look of surprise. "What happened just now?" Li Jing asked. "Father, I'm not sure either. The other party's strength is too terrifying. My body can't withstand it at all," Neza said. "Alright, let's not talk about this. Let's go collect the primordial chaos chi first," Li Jing said. "Yes, father." Neza followed Li Jing and left quickly. Not long after, the group stood on a tall mountain and looked at the 9-colored divine light flowing in the valley up ahead, and their eyes shone with a peculiar light. Primordial chaos energy. They spoke in unison. "What's that?" In the valley, they saw several figures. These people were currently capturing primordial chaos chi. With a single grab, he could grab several strands of primordial energy. This group of people was none other than Six-Eared Macaque and the others. Phew, the Six-Eared Macaque opened its mouth and sucked hard, swallowing a large amount of primordial chaos chi. "Awesome, awesome! Old son, am getting stronger and stronger. If this goes on, it won't take more than a few years for me to return to my peak. How about it? I will remember this grudge forever. Just you wait." After saying that, the Six-Eared Macaque dashed left and right, happily devouring the immemorial chi. "My physical body has become several times stronger. The arm that young master gave me has evolved again. Now, even if an ordinary god king is in front of me, they won't be able to withstand a single punch from me. Right now, my only weakness is my head. How great would it be if the young master could also make a head for me?" When Rensher muttered to himself, his face full of surprise. I've recovered my peak strength." Qian Su clenched her fists excitedly, unable to contain her joy. Then, she quickly converged the primordial energy. As for the others around Qian Su, they tried their best to collect the primordial energy frantically. However, in the face of the endless primordial energy, they couldn't collect it all in a short time. Such a scene strongly stimulated the eyes of Li Jing and the others. Li Jing and Neza trembled slightly with excitement. "Father, shall we go and grab it?" Neza asked. "Don't worry, look over there." Looking in the direction of Li Jing's finger, a bodhisattva with a golden light all over his body slowly descended from the sky. Behind him, 108 Vajra Arhats followed. Everyone's body emitted golden light, looking incomparably sacred, as if the gods had descended from the sky. The leader was the Vajra Hand Bodhisattva. After they landed, they looked coldly at Qian Su and the others. "Stop!" This voice was not loud, but the threat was extremely strong. Everyone stopped and looked at the Vajra Hand Bodhisattva. "Not good, he is Vajra Hand, one of the 4 great bodhisattvas under Buddha." 6 Ears Macaque said. "What? Even Tathagata's bodhisattva has come. How strong is he?" Thunder Tribulation Dominator asked. "He's at least a god king. Including the treasures he has, I'm afraid he won't be easy to deal with." 6 Ears Macaque said. "Let's see what he wants to do first." After some discussion, everyone made a unanimous decision. Seeing that everyone had stopped, the Vajra Hand Bodhisattva smiled and nodded in satisfaction. Afterwards, he glanced at Heavenly Kingly and said, "Heavenly Kingly, how much longer are you going to wait? Could it be that he's trying to reap the benefits?" "How can you reap the benefits of a few small fries like them?" Vajra Hand Bodhisattva said. "Ha!" A burst of hearty laughter sounded. Li Jing rushed over with Neza and stood in front of the Vajra Hand Bodhisattva. As expected of the Vajra Hand Bodhisattva, "Such strength is beyond my reach," Li Jing said with a fake smile. No. Compared to you, we are still far inferior," Vajra Hand Bodhisattva said. "Far from it? Did you bring the devouring alms bowl or the 9 heavens wonder lotus this time?" Li Jing said. Ha! That kind of spiritual treasure is the Buddha's personal possession. Why would he give it to us? Since you're here, tell me, how are we going to split the primordial chi? Vajra Hand Bodhisattva said. "Of course, we'll split it 9-1. Neza said. "Alright, we'll split it 9-1. Vajra Hand Bodhisattva said. "Sorry, you misunderstood. We'll split it 9-1. Neza said. "You." The group of Vajra Arhats behind him pointed at Neza with angry expressions. Vajra Hand Bodhisattva smiled slightly. "Li Jing, do you think so too?" "Ha! Of course not. I think that above the 9 heavens is the Emperor's land. Everything belongs to the Celestial Emperor. Everything in the Shadow Realm naturally belongs to the Celestial Emperor. Logically speaking, it should all belong to the Celestial Emperor. However, on account of your contributions in suppressing the Dark Era, I can give you 5%. Vajra Hand Bodhisattva was so angry that the corners of his mouth twitched. He pointed at Li Jing. "Amitba. Li Jing, are you trying to spar with us?" "Ha! Let's spar then. Who's afraid of who?" Li Jing held the exquisite pagoda in his hand, not the slightest bit afraid. "Come." Vajra Hand Bodhisattva stepped forward with 108 Arhats, instantly making Neza and the others feel incredulous. It looked like the two sides were about to draw their swords and start fighting. At this moment, "You're quite capable," a voice rang out. Chapter 502. You're quite capable. A voice descended from the sky. Then, a golden path descended from the sky and landed directly in the valley. A man with a vertical eye on his forehead and a triple-point blade in his hand walked down the golden path. Beside the vertical-eyed man was a dog that emitted a ferocious aura, causing others to not dare to approach it. Behind the man were 100,000 celestial soldiers. A dignified aura emanated from their bodies. Seeing this scene, the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva's expression changed slightly. Yang Jian, the celestial emperor, has really sent you, the number one general. Yang Jian snorted coldly and looked at the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva, completely disregarding him. This primordial chaos energy belongs to us. Those who are not related to it, scram immediately. Otherwise, I'll kill without mercy. A powerful aura surged from Yang Jian's body, enveloping everyone. Sensing this aura, everyone's expression changed slightly. Ultimate God, I didn't expect you to break through to the ultimate God realm. No wonder he's the number one general under the heavenly sovereign. I didn't expect his strength to be so terrifying. What should we do? With him around, we're no match for him. The expressions of the Vajras behind Vajra-hand Bodhisattva changed slightly as they looked at Yang Jian with fear. The corners of the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva's mouth twitched, and his expression changed again and again. He looked at Yang Jian and said, Yang Jian, don't go too far. So what if I bully you? If you don't leave now, don't blame me for being merciless. Yang Jian pointed the triple-point blade at the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva and said coldly, Good, good. Then let this old monk spar with you. With that said, the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva emitted a dazzling golden light from head to toe as he lunged at Yang Jian. Especially those two arms, which looked like they were made of gold and looked indestructible. Ding, the two of them fought fiercely, and the sound of metal clashing rang out continuously. The space around them exploded, and the entire ground was shaking. The two of them flew in midair for a while, then they flew to the ground for a while. Wherever they went, everything cracked. Such a scene caused everyone's scalp to go numb and cold sweat to flow. Is this a battle between ultimate gods? This is too scary. This speed is too fast. I can't even see its trajectory. Yeah, I never thought that I wouldn't even have the courage to lean to the side when I'm a god king. Everyone raised their heads to look at the sky, their faces filled with shock. Boom. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. The Vajra-hand Bodhisattva staggered backward and took some time to stabilize himself. A trickle of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. He looked at Yang Jian with a fearful expression. The Vajra-hand Bodhisattva wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and grinned. His mouth was scarlet. As expected of the number one warrior. You're quite capable. Do you think this is the end? The Vajra-hand Bodhisattva looked at the 108 arhats on the ground and roared, Get into formation. With that, the 108 arhats moved at the same time. They formed hand seals and kept moving. Ma-li ho-li, the scriptures spat out from their mouths and quickly revolved around their bodies. In the blink of an eye, a 10,000-meter-tall golden arhat phantom was formed, emitting an extremely terrifying aura. As soon as this figure appeared, a hint of fear appeared on Yang Jian's face. He looked at the 100,000 celestial soldiers behind him and roared, Get into formation! Kacha, the sound of eggshells cracking rang out continuously. The 100,000 celestial soldiers also emitted golden light that shot into the sky. In less than a moment, a 20,000-meter-tall golden general was formed, holding a triple-point sword. It looked like Yang Jian's incarnation. Buzz, the triple-point sword pointed, and the air vibrated. The golden arhat's body staggered backward. After stabilizing its body, the golden arhat kicked its hind legs and leaped up. It pounced directly behind the golden general, grabbed its shoulder, and gave it a flurry of punches. Boom! Boom! The loud noises continued. The golden general grabbed the golden arhat with a backhand motion. Then, it pressed the golden arhat to the ground, raised its fist, and smashed it down hard. Boom! Boom! Every punch caused the world to tremble. If it weren't for the fact that the Shadow Realm's geological density was higher, the entire world would have been blown apart. The sound of their battle attracted many onlookers. Most of these people were people who had entered the second level from the first level. They stood in the distance and watched from afar, not daring to approach at all. It's too terrifying. Who can compete with this terrifying power? The mysterious young master might be able to compete. I haven't seen the mysterious young master. They should all be from the heavenly realm, right? That goes without saying. Such voices kept ringing throughout the scene. Boom! Boom! The explosions continued, and the golden arhat's figure became more and more illusory. Finally, with a bang, it exploded. Bang! 108 arhats and the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva scattered around like a goddess scattering flowers. Puff! Everyone spat out a mouthful of blood. Even the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva vomited blood and fell to the ground, revealing a look of fear. Buzz! With a flash of light, the golden general formed by the 100,000 celestial soldiers scattered and turned into 100,000 celestial soldiers, standing behind Yang Jian. Yang Jian walked toward the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva step by step, his cold killing intent undisguised. What do you want? Looking at Yang Jian's fierce appearance, the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva trembled. He, I said, kill without mercy. Yang Jian's voice was cold. You want to kill us, aren't you afraid of provoking a war between Buddhism and Taoism? The Vajra-hand Bodhisattva said. Are you worthy? Do you think old man Gautama will fight against the Celestial Emperor for you? You think too highly of yourself, Yang Jian said. As soon as these words came out, the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva's face was full of sadness. Buzz! The triple-point knife pointed, emitting waves of vibrating sounds. Any last words? Yang Jian asked. Yang Jian, don't be complacent. Sooner or later, you will die in the hands of Buddha. Are you done? Then go to hell. After Yang Jian finished speaking, the triple-point knife aimed at the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva's head and directly stabbed down. The terrifying power made people's scalps tingle. The triple-point knife was about to stab into the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva's head. At this time, Buzz! There was a tremor. Yang Jian's body staggered back. It took a long time for Yang Jian to stabilize his figure. He looked ahead, revealing a look of fear. He saw that in front of the Vajra-hand Bodhisattva, there was an additional person at some point. This person was also holding an alms bowl and looked kind. This person was Samantabhadra Bodhisattva under Gautama. Amitba, benefactor, you are too heavy-handed, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva said. Samantabhadra? I didn't expect you to come too. You actually brought the heaven-devouring alms bowl. It looks like you are determined to get the primordial chaos chi. Yang Jian said. Haha! Samantabhadra Bodhisattva laughed loudly, revealing a confident look. Chapter 503. Primordial chaos energy belongs to those who are capable. Yang Jian, for the sake of the Celestial Emperor, I'll forget about you wanting to kill us. However, the primordial chaos chi belongs to us Buddhists. You should leave. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Samantabhadra's voice was not loud, but it was full of vigor. Upon hearing those words, the 100,000 heavenly soldiers trembled with anger, and their expressions kept changing. Under the heavens, is it the land of the Celestial Emperor? How dare a Buddhist sect be so arrogant? This is infuriating. If not for the heaven-devouring alms bowl, how could he be so arrogant? Yang Jian looked at Samantabhadra, his brows slightly raised and the corners of his mouth slightly trembled. At the same time, a hint of fear appeared on his face. If you want to obtain primordial chaos energy, you'll have to step over my dead body. Yang Jian stepped forward without the slightest fear. Roar! The howling celestial hound let out a roar as its fur stood on end. From the looks of it, it was ready to attack at any moment. You want to deal with old Na with just the two of you? Samantabhadra smiled faintly, showing a calm expression. The celestial hound rushed towards Samantabhadra. As he ran, his entire body ignited with dazzling flames. These flames quickly swam about and formed a fire dragon. With a roar, it pounced straight towards Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra's expression changed slightly. He stretched out his hand and waved forward. The heaven-devouring alms bowl turned into a stream of light and flew straight towards the fire dragon. Bang! The moment it touched the fire dragon collapsed. When the howling celestial dog saw this, it quickly steadied itself, turned around and galloped away. However, how could he make it in time? Phew! The heaven-devouring alms bowl emitted a terrifying suction force and landed on the howling celestial dog. Woo! The howling celestial dog let out waves of sorrowful cries and struggled frantically, but it was useless. Its body rapidly shrank. In the end, it fell into the heaven-devouring alms bowl and was bound inside, unable to move. Damn it! Yang Jian let out a furious roar and raised his triple-point sword. He turned into a stream of light and pounced at Samantabhadra. Seeing this, Samantabhadra did not panic. With a thought, buzz! The heaven-devouring alms bowl spun rapidly again, and a terrifying suction force instantly locked Yang Jian in place. Yang Jian gritted his teeth and persevered. He transformed into a piece of godly metal. But in front of the terrifying suction of the heaven-devouring alms bowl, it was useless. Yang Jian was about to be sucked into the heaven-devouring alms bowl. At this moment, Kacha, a crack appeared in the sky. A white-haired man walked out from the crack. He picked up the deity's striking whip and aimed it at the heaven-devouring alms bowl. Ka-ka! A series of cracking sounds rang out. The heaven-devouring alms bowl's body cracked like a spider web, and in the blink of an eye, it shattered. Bang! The backlash from the heaven-devouring alms bowl sent Samantabhadra flying backward, slamming heavily onto the ground. The explosion caused a cloud of dust to fly. Being buried inside, it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyeballs. Everyone froze on the spot, a look of disbelief on their faces. That kind of shock, that kind of daze, that kind of surprise. Words could not describe it. After a long while, hiss, the sound of people gasping could be heard. Everyone felt as if they were in a cold winter, unable to believe everything that was happening before their eyes. My ancestor, that was the heaven-devouring alms bowl. How could it be shattered by a whip? Who is he? Why is he so powerful? I know, he is Jiang Zia, all the gods were conferred by him. What, even an ancient god is here? Doesn't that mean he has the Khanate spirit treasure, the deity's striking whip? That goes without saying. Exclamations rang out one after another. Everyone's mouths were wide open in shock. Their gazes were fixed on Jiang Zia, motionless. Jiang Zia's appearance caused the expressions of King Kong Hand and the others to change slightly, their faces full of fear. The Celestial Arch is very capable. I didn't expect him to invite you out. King Kong Hand said. Everything in the world is beneficial. Since there is 10% of the primordial qi, how can this old man not want it? Jiang Zia stroked his long beard, revealing a calm look. He looked at Yang Jian and the others, saying, This old man has completed the task entrusted by the Celestial Arch, the rest is up to you. Don't worry, great-grandfather, I am here. Yang Jian patted his chest and stepped forward. What, you still don't want me to send you off? Yang Jian's voice was cold, his killing intent rising. King Kong Hand opened his mouth, unable to speak. Let's go. He led 108 arhats, carried Samantabhadra out of the dust, and flew out quickly with Samantabhadra. Standing in the distant sky, watching from afar. That appearance was full of unwillingness. Yang Jian turned a blind eye to this scene. At this moment, his gaze was directly fixed on Six-Eared Macaque and the others. You still haven't left, do you still need me to send you off? Yang Jian held the triple-point blade and walked forward step by step. The sharp blade in his hand was buzzing, as if it was thirsting for blood. Roar, howling celestial dog also followed beside Yang Jian, its blood-red eyes revealing a murderous aura. General, let us lend you a hand. Neza and Li Jing also walked forward. Everyone waved the magic weapons in their hands and walked toward Six-Eared Macaque and the others step by step. Seeing this scene, Chernye and the others' expressions changed slightly, and they all retreated. Don't be afraid, everyone, we just happened to meet them. Qian Su's voice calmed everyone down. Especially when Rinshi, he licked his lips, his whole person's fighting spirit soaring. Leave that kid to me, the rest are yours. When Rinshi pointed to Yang Jian and said, Leave the guy with the tower to me. The one with the diamond ring, leave it to me. 100,000 heavenly soldiers, let's go together. Just like how they would distribute food, everyone assigned their opponent. Hearing this, the corners of Yang Jian and the others' mouths twitched slightly, and their faces were angry. Ants trying to shake a tree, overestimating yourself. Today, I'll let you see the power of this seat. Yang Jian pointed the triple-point blade in his hand, and howling celestial dog pounced toward Wenrinshi. Howl, a dragon roar shook the sky and the earth. A fire dragon rushed toward Wenrinshi. Seeing this scene, Wenrinshi did not dodge. Just in time. The corner of his mouth raised, and he stretched out his left fist and blasted toward the fire dragon. Gotcha! The sound of an eggshell cracking rang out. Immediately afterward. Boom! There was an explosion. The fire dragon directly collapsed. Such a scene directly surprised everyone in place, and their eyes were full of disbelief. One punch destroyed Howling Celestial Dog's big move. Amazing, the Rakshasa punch is too powerful. Yeah, the Rakshasa punch is so powerful, if the mysterious young master comes, how terrifying would it be? Is there a need to guess? It's absolutely terrifying and unimaginable existence. The exclamations kept ringing, and for a while, they couldn't stop at all. Chapter 504. Howl. The howling celestial dog let out a mournful cry, and its body was knocked back by Wenrinshi's punch. He fell to the ground, twitching and foaming at the mouth. Yang Jian stood rooted to the ground in shock. He knew very well how strong the howling celestial dog was. Even if it faced a god king, it would still be able to put up a fight. He didn't expect that he would be forced back by a punch from this unremarkable human. How was this possible? For a moment, Yang Jian could not believe that all of this was real. Courting death. Yang Jian roared angrily, took a step forward, and rushed towards Wenrinshi. Phew, the tri-point blade glowed with a dazzling golden light, so bright that no one could open their eyes. The entire world darkened, as if all light was being devoured by the tri-point blade in Yang Jian's hand. The terrifying power mixed with the aura of tearing everything directly blasted towards Wenrinshi. The expressions of Qian Su and the others changed drastically when they saw this scene. Elder One, be careful! Everyone shouted in unison, but it was too late. Boom! A loud explosion shook the heavens and split the earth. Boundless chi waves rolled out. Dust filled the air and shrouded everything, making it hard for people to open their eyes. It took a long time for the scene to calm down. Everyone looked toward the source of the battle, and their eyes widened in disbelief. How is this possible? Oh my god, Yang Jian was pushed back. He has the strength of an ultimate god. Amazing! The Rakshasa punch is really something. Cries of surprise could be heard continuously. For a time, he could not calm down at all. As the sounds of battle rang out, more and more people came to watch. Everyone's expression was extremely similar at this moment. Yang Jian looked at Wenrinshi, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. The expression on his face kept changing. He did not expect that the other party would be able to force him back with just his physical body. If he used the power of laws, just how strong would he be? It was unimaginable. However, what Yang Jian didn't know was that Wenrenshur hadn't even condensed his godhead yet. If he knew all of this, he would probably vomit blood out of anger. Interesting. I'm going to get serious now. After speaking, Yang Jian rushed towards Wenrenshur again. Ding, the sound of metal clashing rang out continuously. Boundless chi waves surged out. The terrifying aura made everyone's scalp go numb. The two of them fought, and it was impossible to determine the victor in a short time. The other side. Neza and Qian Su fought against each other. Both of them seemed to be equally matched. The more Neza fought, the more aggrieved and annoyed he became. Many times, when victory was clearly on the horizon, Qian Su would always be able to resolve the crisis. Not only that, but the defense of that robe was so strong that even his various magic treasures could not break it. What infuriated Neza even more was that the lancet on Qian Su's clothes had the power to tear through everything, and it completely tore apart his red armillary sash. This was a Dharma treasure that perfected Tai had given him. It had actually shattered just like that. Damn it, Neza cursed. Just as he was about to use his ultimate move, boom, with a loud bang, Neza was sent flying by Qian Su's attack and crashed into the ground. Not far from the center of the battle, the six-eared macaque and Li Jing were locked in a fierce battle. Buzz, the Ling Long treasure pagoda in Pagoda King Li's hand expanded rapidly, and in an instant, the six-eared macaque was sucked into it. Buzz, the exquisite pagoda shrank again and landed in Li Jing's hands. The corners of Li Jing's mouth curled up as he revealed a smug expression. A little monkey is overestimating himself. However, just as he finished speaking, bang, there was an explosion. The exquisite pagoda directly exploded. It shattered into pieces and fell to the ground. Such a scene directly stunned Li Jing. He was filled with disbelief. This was a Dharma treasure that Taoist Randang had given him. How could it be broken so easily? How was this possible? Fake, it must be fake. This was a dream. Li Jing pinched himself a few times and grimaced in pain. While he was in a daze, the six-eared macaque had already stood in front of him. He saw. The six-eared macaque smiled slightly with a smug smile on his face. He held the rod in his hand with both hands and had a smug look on his face. I didn't expect that the rod that young master forged for me would have such shocking power. Old Li Jing's exquisite pagoda was shattered by a rod. Old Li Jing is going to vomit blood from anger now, right? The corners of the six-eared macaque's mouth curled up slightly. Before Li Jing could react, he leaped and pounced in front of him. He raised the rod in his hand and aimed at his head. Boom! With a loud noise, Li Jing's body flew out upside down and directly slammed into the ground, causing dust to fly. On the other side, the Thunder Retribution Lord's body expanded to 10,000 meters, with 4 heads and 8 arms, and all kinds of weapons were surging with lightning. He leaped up and rushed into the 100,000 heavenly soldiers. With one strike, with the Thunder Retribution Lord as the center, the lightning ball formed by hundreds of millions of strands of electric light quickly spread out. Boom! Everywhere it went there was an explosion. The 100,000 heavenly soldiers were like ants being washed up by a flood, flying out upside down and falling heavily to the ground. Boom! The sound of dust exploding kept ringing. It took a long time for the scene to gradually calm down. At this moment there was dead silence all around. Everyone's eyes widened, revealing a look of disbelief. The heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals were so vulnerable in front of the group of people under the mysterious young master. What kind of existence was the mysterious young master? I'm afraid it was an unimaginable existence. Hiss, the sound of inhaling cold air came one after another. After an unknown period of time, Yang Jian and the others struggled to stand up one after another. They gathered together and looked at the six-eared macaque and the others, revealing a look of fear. General Yang, what should we do? There's no way, we're not their opponents. Yang Jian's face showed a look of unwillingness. So much primordial qi, are we just going to give it to them like this? Then what good plan do you have? Isn't Jiang Taigong here? With his help, it should be easy to get it. Him. Yang Jian looked at Jiang Ziya's face and withdrew his gaze. Then, he shook his head slightly. It's harder to get him to help. He saw that Jiang Ziya had his arms crossed, showing an expression of not helping either side. What? Why don't you get lost? Do you want us to invite you again? When Rensher stepped forward, pointed to Yang Jian, and said, Yang Jian's chest stagnated, unable to answer. He didn't expect that he had just said this, and now he was immediately rebutted. This was really a loud slap in the face. What should I do? General Yang, you give Jiang Taigong 10% more primordial qi. I think he will agree to help. Yes, General Yang, if we go back empty-handed like this, it's not good to explain to the Sky Emperor. That's right, we give Jiang Taigong 10% more. I think the Sky Emperor will not say anything. Hearing these voices, Yang Jian secretly nodded. That's fine, I'll go discuss it with Taigong. Yang Jian stepped forward and walked toward Jiang Ziya. The sound of the next sentence made Yang Jian furious. Chapter 505. Yang Jian, if you want me to make a move, I want 90%. The remaining 10% is yours. Jiang Ziya's words made Yang Jian tremble in anger. Great-grandfather, you are robbing. Everything under the sky belongs to the Emperor. Aren't you afraid of the anger of the Emperor? Yang Jian said. Haha, Jiang Ziya laughed and sneered. Don't use Shi Wudao to suppress this old man, it's useless. If he has this ability, why didn't he come in person? I don't think he dares. Jiang Ziya said. You. Yang Jian's chest stagnated, speechless. If you want this old man to make a move, then hurry up, otherwise I won't leave 10% for you. Jiang Ziya said. Yang Jian opened his mouth, but didn't say a word. His fists unwillingly loosened and clenched and loosened again. Okay, I agree. Yang Jian said. Okay. Jiang Ziya stroked his long beard. His body moved quickly, and stood in front of 6 ears macaque and the others in an instant. Little boy, this primordial qi is this old man's, you guys leave quickly. Otherwise, don't blame this old man for not talking about martial ethics. As soon as his voice fell. Boom, a loud noise. When Rensher punched Jiang Ziya's face, directly blasting Jiang Ziya a step back. Jiang Ziya covered his right face and rubbed it hard. His face showed a look of disbelief and surprise. Pain, I can actually feel pain. How many years has it been? No one has hurt this old man with a physical body for a long time. Little boy, it seems that you are the one who doesn't talk about martial ethic. This old man also has to fight back. When Rensher, who was opposite Jiang Ziya, was also stunned at the moment. Pain? Only pain? Moreover, it only blasted him a step back? How is this possible? While when Rensher was stunned, Jiang Ziya stepped forward and instantly appeared in front of when Rensher, aimed at his abdomen, and blasted a punch. Boom. With a loud noise, when Rensher's body flew out and slammed into the ground. Boom. Boom. The loud noise continued. Qian Su, the 6-eared macaque, Han Xing, and the others were sent flying like kites with their strings cut before crashing heavily onto the ground. Although none of them were seriously injured, they were unable to move their bodies. For a moment they were unable to stand up. Jiang Taigong is too awesome. Oh my god, this is a real big shot. He's at least an 8th grade divine venerable? Not only that, I'm afraid his physical body has already reached the level of Emperor God. I wonder who is stronger between the mysterious young master and Jiang Taigong? Of course it's Jiang Taigong. He is an old monster who has lived for millions of years. Cries of alarm rang out continuously. Everyone's gaze was fixed on Jiang Ziya with admiration. Jiang Ziya completely ignored their gazes. At this moment, His attention was completely focused on the primordial chi. Phew! He waved his right hand and began to collect them. However, when he had just collected a strand of primordial energy, an unexpected event occurred. Gotcha! Cracks appeared on the ground as blood-colored vines drilled out of the ground and pounced at them. Such a scene directly frightened everyone in place. Before they could react, these blood-colored vines directly tied everyone up like dumplings. No matter how hard they tried, they could not break free. At this moment, whether it was Jiang Zia or the onlookers, everyone was trapped in place. What the hell is this? Help, help! Oh my god, this is Blood Spirit Ghost Vine. What, Blood Spirit Ghost Vine, oh my god! Cries for help, screams, cries for help, exclamations, the voices were intertwined. The whole scene was extremely chaotic. Break for me! Jiang Zia waved the god-beating whip and whipped it hard. Boom, the Blood Spirit Ghost Vine that tied him up were all broken. He stepped out and came to midair. When he was about to swing the god-beating whip, he could not help but widen his eyes. He saw that in front of him, a blood-colored figure appeared out of nowhere. This figure, without any hesitation, aimed at his chest and pressed down. Gotcha! The sound of bones breaking rang out. Jiang Zia's body fell straight down like a kite with a broken string. The god-beating whip in his hand fell directly into the hands of the blood-colored figure. The blood-colored figure waved its right hand, and Jiang Zia's body was once again entangled by the Blood Spirit Ghost Vine. Without the god-beating whip, no matter how hard he tried, he was unable to break free. Jia Jia! The blood-colored figure looked up to the sky and laughed, looking crazy. I've been waiting for you for a long time, you're finally here. This seat strength is finally going to recover a little. My flesh and blood, come to this seat. The blood-colored figure stretched out its right hand and grabbed toward the sky. Buzz, there was a vibration. A blood-red lightning ball condensed and formed in the blood-colored figure. Then, the blood-colored figure clenched hard. Boom, there was an explosion. The blood-colored lightning ball exploded directly. It turned into hundreds of millions of blood-red electric arcs, rushing to each Blood Spirit Ghost Vine. These Blood Spirit Ghost Vines were like living things, growing rapidly. One by one, the spikes were directly poured into everyone's body. Come on, my energy! This sound rose. The energy in everyone's body rushed through the Blood Spirit Ghost Vine and poured into the blood-colored figure. The blood-colored figure condensed at a speed visible to the naked eye. She had the appearance of a woman, and her facial features were blurred and unclear. Seeing this scene, Jiang Zia's expression changed dramatically. She's the Blood Spirit. What? She's the Blood Spirit, one of the 9 great generals of the Dark Taboo, the Blood Spirit? Yes, it's her. I didn't expect her to be hiding in this shadow realm. This is troublesome. What should we do? It's over, we're all over. Voices of despair kept ringing. Boom, the bodies of the weaker shoujo were sucked dry in less than a breath, and then exploded in the end. Such a scene strongly stimulated the nerves of other cultivators. Everyone's body was in endless despair. They struggled wildly and kept begging for mercy. However, it was useless, seeing that everyone was about to be sucked dry. At this time, buzz, the world shook and 2 figures appeared, one in front and one behind, around the Blood Spirit. These 2 figures were Xiao Fun and Xiao Fong. Both of them stretched out their palms at the same time and pressed on the Blood Spirit. Boom, 2 explosions. The left and right shoulders of the Blood Spirit directly exploded into powder. She struggled wildly and quickly ran away, landing in the distance, coldly looking at Xiao Fong and the others. Who are you? The Blood Spirit's eyes were full of fear. Hee, the 2 women looked at each other, smiled coldly at the same time, and disappeared at the same time. When they appeared again, they were already in the body of the Blood Spirit. Both of them stretched out their palms at the same time and quickly blasted forward. In the next second, the 2 women's faces changed dramatically. Not good, we've been tricked.